Fairlease. Fairlease was out there Friday at the Haas Moto Museum. Fairlease put that remote on. Got to talk to Danny out there. He was lubing the deals. There were people getting their cars appraised and leasing new ones left and right. Go to fairlease.org if you'd like to do the same. We have heard nothing but positive reviews from listeners who have done business with Fairlease. Blake's doing business with Fairlease. We would like you to go to that website, fairlease.org, click Request a Quote, and then select the Dumb Zone on the How Did You Hear About Us part. You'll save a little money. You'll get top market value for your trade-in, and these are just good people. So go support them. You get mileage options from 10K to 30K. I don't even know if anybody cares about all those finer copy points. The point is, you'll have a fair time leasing a vehicle. Fairlease Navidad.
All right.
Sorry, my volume might have been a little hot there, Blake. That's the way I'm rolling, though, today.
Coming in hot folks,
on
on a Monday after the Super Bowl. Who's going to be red?
The big game.
What does Kendrick Lamar's performance say about the divide in our nation?
Did you get your free coffee this morning?
Whoa, who's doing that bit?
Starbucks.
For what?
The Monday after the Super Bowl, you got a free tall coffee.
Do they do... I've always thought places that are offering something free that you should have an option to apply that same discount to something you actually want. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Like if they're like, oh, you get a free coffee and it's like a $2 coffee.
Yeah.
But I don't want that. Can I order a macchiato?
What is this, 2008?
They used to do that?
No, I'm saying Starbucks coffee is no longer $2.
That's established the run guy right there.
I'm laughing because this guy knows every deal.
I know.
Like anything we're doing.
He's
I'm
helped
at a
me
movie
out a
with
lot.
him, and he's like, "Do you have the
And
app?"
get you free popcorn.
Yeah. Or load the app, and all you gotta do is this, and then press this button, and then show them that you're not watching the movie, or why you're not looking at your phone. You get a free.
I'm trying to save you a couple bucks.
I'm like, all right, but what if I want to look at my phone during the movie?
Well, then you don't get your nachos.
I appreciate it. He's helped me out a lot. I get rewards now because of Blake.
Get those stars, man.
You're
That's why I was so mad at their Christmas game. I thought I had free Starbucks for life.
Which would probably be like one
Oh, I know.
drink every month or something.
I know.
I've stepped in that trap before. Thinking that I had something for a year, and they're like, yeah, well, actually, it just means like every time you come here, it's a $6 free.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's like marriage. You're like, oh, I'm going to just be doing this all the time. Sex for life.
Listen, it was my Andy's gift card.
You said that. What
I know
voice
that
was
I-
that voice of you 10
You
years
did
ago?
say
I know that I play this character of a guy who's beaten down, but dude,
Oh.
you get a peek in there and you'll just see nothing but whips and masks
Uh-huh.
and swings. Fucking crazy, dude.
Was that what the Reno was all about? Sex room?
The what?
Anyway,
Did you go Reno?
Yeah.
No, you can't do Reno. Reno, maybe.
Reno, damn.
What's Reno? Oh, renovation?
I was trying. I failed.
It's okay. It's Monday.
Man, I was trying to find that audio on the fly real quick. I searched Jake's sex. It's not in there.
Who are you?
Jake once said that he'd never stop, that him and his wife would have sex every night. It'd be so
yeah,
great.
baby.
Although we don't know that they don't.
Yeah. He just said he plays a beaten guy.
We just know of 1 month they didn't.
We know 1 month I didn't.
Right. We have no idea what she was doing. Although, I was over there knocking on the door every day.
How are the kids?
Need anything?
Shoulder to lean on. Yeah.
Maybe just go for a walk together.
Can you imagine that? Me doing that? Like, she's like, all right. We're both walking. All right, why did we do this? Anyway, it's the day after the big game. For a little while, we forgot about Luka.
Very little while.
But then
Will you do the intro thing?
Oh, I'm Dan McDowell.
I'm Jake Kemp.
I'm Blake Jones.
I didn't know we had to do it. Along with Clayton,
We have to do it.
who is videoing this thing from high atop my garage. We are going live to tape today. We're also on the tube. The YouTube.
The Twit.
On the Twit. On the Twitch, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And
just a real kick in the dick of a week when it comes to sports.
My gosh.
Although I will tell you this.
Couple that. I guess I'm not a lifelong Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
But now the Eagles win the Super Bowl after having a team that you were pretty comparable to this team.
Over-unders were probably the same.
And they said, you know what? What if we just added to this? We're so close. What if we just added? We do this. It's crazy, Howie Roseman. You can't. The implications on the salary cap, they said, look, we're not going to say it out loud, but we're kind of all in here.
Yeah. That's a novel.
And then you have over here yelling all in, and, well, that means I signed my quarterback and receiver. Okay, the Eagles did that too. Then they traded for another receiver. Then they signed a free agent running back. Then they shored up the defensive line, and then they blah, blah, blah. But look at that Forbes list, bro.
Forbes list, and, boy, they're going to be in a world of hurt. I tell you what, boy.
And ESPN, every time they do, like, the rundown and the stories of the year, like, where's Philly on that? Like, fourth? Cowboys are right up. Cowboys, you got LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
That's what pisses me off about Luka too. Like, not that means anything, but we were on the map.
Yeah,
we were on the basketball map. We were going to be in the top things. Like Luka was that. He was a magnet to make us the map. Cleveland got on the map because LeBron. Do you know what that meant? To be a Clevelander and have LeBron, like, it meant a lot to the whole city. I'm just scattershooting here now, aren't I?
Dude,
we're going
wind
Cowboys.
Him up, folks.
We're going.
No, no, you're right. And when you're on the map in basketball, it's like there's only like 3 of those teams because the football, like, it's just the most popular sport in the country. Everybody's gonna watch the NFL. With basketball, you have like 3 teams because of 3 guys at any given time that might be talked about on Good Morning America if something crazy happens.
Right, it's because of the guys.
The guys.
It's not like Cleveland right now, solid basketball team.
Right.
Well put together.
Mm-hmm.
Good GM work.
Walled off the paint.
Name 3 of them.
That's the thing. But they're not on the map.
No.
They might do well. They could go all the way, and no one's going to ever care.
Yeah, and speaking of not caring, I mean, it bothers me that the Eagles won, but I have a sense of sports numbness right now. Like yesterday, I just kept thinking, do I even really care about this? I care about having fun with my buddies, but do I actually – because when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, it meant a lot to me that they lost that game, even though they'd already won one with Foles. It just meant a lot. And yesterday it was like, I guess, whatever. It does make it worse that they very clearly chose a different path than Dallas, and it worked for them. After the Rams chose a very clearly path from Dallas, and it worked for them. But, you know. I will say another thing. Spin a little positive here. It's tough to imagine a coach that inspires less confidence than Nick Sirianni. And he's now been in the Super Bowl twice in 4 years. Or the playoffs all 4 years. So when I listen to Shoddy and I'm like...
I was going to say, though, good luck because you got one.
That's what I'm saying. Sirianni doesn't call plays.
So you're saying because Troy Aikman went 1-15, if my quarterback goes 1-15, he'll probably win 3 Super Bowls.
Gold jacket.
So because Sirianni inspired so little confidence.
And doesn't call plays, don't really know what he does.
Now you have a guy who inspires even less confidence. You're like, wow, this is even better.
So we went through a period of time, right? Like we had like Bill Walsh, you know, and then the West Coast. And he was at a coaching tree, the likes of which you'd never seen. And we had Mike Shanahan on down to Kyle Shanahan and the McVay tree. And you look around the league and these innovative offenses with tight bunch formations and motion, and they're going to run the ball on you. Look out for a new wave of NFL coaches who the main thing about them is you just don't really care about them. You're not really sure what they do. Sirianni's at the top of the game right now, and who's more Sirianni than Schottenheimer?
We had about a 4-year window where it was get a hot coach.
That's the same as the McVay. There's not a lot of ugly McVays.
Okay, that's okay. Offensive mind equals hot guy.
For the most part. For the most part. I mean,
Mike McDaniels, you would not say is hot.
I don't know. I mean, he's a lot more attractive than like Tony Sperano. You know what I mean? Like he looks
skinny, but
he looks cool.
Yeah, his health is healthier, his heart is healthier, but I don't know that.
He just got like cool glasses and shoes and stuff. You know,
He looks kind of nerd cool. Tech
Well,
cool.
yeah.
He looks like he wants her to finish first.
Who doesn't?
Well, he just might make sure.
I don't understand.
He
Your
just looks like
logic
a
here.
super nice guy.
The who doesn't is I believe Blake is saying that
Like
a real
you-
man would just do his business and be like, figure your thing out on your own.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's run the ball guy is probably also the guy that's not concerned about her pleasure at all. I
I got
I
what I
like to at
needed.
least her to pretend she had some pleasure, and then because I don't want to do anything after. It's oh gosh, I'm done. Jeez, now I got to go do this. Oh no.
The closest you'll ever feel to what the boys on Normandy were going through.
Is having to
She's just like,
after you're done, you got to go now. I got to
I can't do it.
roll up the sleeves, doing a little Delkus. Here,
This is where they separate the men from the boys right here.
all right, push through it.
Barely conscious.
Push through it. Capital T. I'm Mr. T.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I definitely wanted that all over my hand. Anyways, at least Patrick Dumont didn't rip open the whole Luka wound over the weekend. We should play that audio.
I was going to say another positive is that at least you're going to see you'll have a clear view of the runway before Micah takes off.
Right.
It'll all be out there. They'll have failed again. It's going to implode, and Micah will be like, "Look, I never wanted to leave. I wanted to wear the star for my entire career, but I also really want to win a ring. That's what everybody drives everybody." And then the quotes will be how, man, I mean, you walk into this facility here in Philadelphia, and it's just about football. They just talk football, and it's kind of crazy. And it'll be really ironic coming from a guy who's got a podcast studio at the Star, but still.
Yeah, you pointed this out yesterday.
You're going
on
to
the
feel
stream.
better about it because you're going to have seen it ahead of time. It will not have blindsided you like the Luka thing.
Yeah, so Peyton Hendershot was our latest. As he said, this is throwing no strays, but I think it should be shade. I just feel like when I came to Kansas City, my first experience in the NFL was the Cowboys. That's all I knew. I just feel like here in Kansas City, it is just strictly just football and winning. Nothing else but football and winning. I feel like with the Cowboys, it's a little bit more of the public image, the extracurriculars that come with it too. And here it's just, let's just win football. It's just not as paramount in Dallas as I think it is here. When you're in Dallas, sometimes it's about pictures and events. HGTV ass organization. So anyways, yeah, that was a very boring Super Bowl. It was one of the most dominating defensive performances I've ever seen in my life. If you take the grand scope of it, considering they're playing Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and a team that went, 15-1 before they punted at the end of the year, I believe that was the second worst game of Mahomes' career. Maybe worst. Maybe the previous worst, I believe, by EPA was the Bucs Super Bowl.
It felt very much like that game.
Yep. And the play tracking data, at least the last one I saw, not a single blitz.
Wow.
Never more than 4. Or if it was 5, it was delayed. Nothing got charted as a blitz. They had a 20 to 25% blitz rate on the season, and they blitzed 0 times last night. Dang. Philadelphia.
I mean, my weekend check is all about kind of Super Bowl stuff, so I don't know if you guys have anything else for a weekend check. But I
have
could
some
tell you
things.
that
Go for it.
it's brought to us by Community Mechanical. Community Mechanical is our HVAC company.
Texted them to come out this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You should, if you haven't had your HVAC system looked at recently, just get a preventative maintenance, visit. Just get to know these guys. You're going to love them. They came out, checked out my, furnace, and they say the exhaust duct was ajar, basically dumping carbon monoxide into your attic, according to Travis. And apparently that's bad.
It is bad. So
Community Mechanical at communitydfw.com, or you can call or text 469-667-7290. They offer on-demand repair services for any residential or commercial HVAC or refrigeration issues.
They do. And speaking of that preventative maintenance, if you get that done, they'll buy you, the listener, any DZ merch of your choice, up to $50. Get a new HVAC system through Community Mechanical, and they will get you a $690 sit-in. Again, it's communitydfw.com.
Oh, I forgot about that sit-in thing, yeah.
That's why I did it. Text the 469-667-7290. Travis and the boys will take care of you. That's communitydfw.com. I don't know how much. I'm just going to put you guys through listening again, right? We talked about some of this stuff on the stream. But I went to go see Jeremy Piven, Saturday night at the Arlington Improv. Went to the Late Show solo.
Did you go?
No.
Oh, okay. You were talking about possibly going Friday.
Yeah, it's just a long way over there.
For me, it's 22 minutes. That's right on the edge. 25 minutes and under.
I heard from a listener who said he went. In fact, I might have his email here somewhere.
Yeah, Mr. Piven had told us kind of vaguely, hey, mention Dumb Zone and we'll do a meet and greet. But I wasn't exactly sure what and how to do that.
Yeah, we never really got into it.
Yeah.
But this guy said, I went there to the Late Show on Friday, mentioned the Dumb Zone. I got a pass to the meet and greet with no hassle. Got to talk to him. Told him I, drove 45 miles to get there and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he says he was great.
That's awesome.
He was really cool to him. His opener was CJ Starr, who's a local guy you should consider having on the pod.
Agreed.
That's what it says here.
He was
Michael and Denton.
He was the feature. So they have the host, right? There was another guy who's up there for 10, 15 minutes at the start.
Okay.
And he was fine, but CJ Starr I liked. I enjoyed. But it was an interesting dynamic. The Cliff Notes version of it. Is it Cliffs or Cliff? Isn't it Cliff Notes?
Yeah.
I think it's Cliff's Notes.
I think that's what everyone always says.
I think there's an S on the end of Cliff.
So I went to the one. It was at Arlington, which I guess I'd never really put together. That
All right.
Dan's right.
Arlington primarily
remember
books,
that phrase. And keep it in your head.
Dan is right. Dan is right.
Maybe more minority comedians, whereas Addison books more white. It's not exclusive, but I learned this from talking to a couple ladies at my table. And it was a table of 6. I had a single. There were 2. They walked me in. It was a table in the back. There were 2 black women there that were probably late 50s, early 60s, dressed very nicely. They were sitting across from each other. Then the 2 middle chairs were empty, and then next to the empty chair there was a black guy. And I walked up. They led me to my table, and the guy's like, "Here, this is you." And he pointed to the seat in between the older black lady and the 40-something black guy. And I walked up, and I thought I was trying to be polite or cool. Like, I don't know, why did they assign me in the middle of these people? That's weird. So I just kind of gestured to both of them, and I was like, do one of you guys want to move over so you can sit together? And the lady looked at me and she just goes, no, why?
Okay, you assumed they were together.
I did.
And you called them those people to their face.
And then I sat down, and we became good friends, me and these 2 women. We had, we were very, I'll get to that, but.
Were you their little boy toy in their head?
They were asking me a lot of questions about my life.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was like, you guys want to move over, sit together? And she's like, no, why? And I was like, haha. And then I sat down, and her and her friend were sharing a dish of food. And I believe, properly nailing me with sarcasm, she reached down, picked it up, what she had, and said, and would you like a chicken wing? I was like, damn, I feel like that was intentional.
You take her up on it?
I did not. I was pretty shook. I folded in the moment. Weird show. Just a weird show, man. I mean, I don't know if it's just, like I said, I've been to 3 shows since Trump got elected. And the crowd, it's just different, right? Like, Jeremy Piven is going to say the F slur and the R word, and he doesn't really have a joke behind it.
F? Oh, bundle of sticks?
Yeah.
British cigarette?
So some comedians you might hear say it in a way that it's part of an observation, a story, a joke. But also there's going to be some, like Jeremy Piven, who are just like, Trump won, and now I can say F.
Mm.
And
Is that how he phrased it? Framed
yes.
it? Okay.
Yeah. And half the crowd like erupts.
Like they're so happy to hear.
Yeah. And like I've said, the gayest thing, I think being super like, I'm going to cheer for the word retard. I think that's as gay as policing language to a crazy degree. And it's also not a joke. There's really no joke there.
Yeah.
So it was a weird dichotomy because these women had told me, you know, they profiled me and they were like, have you been to this Addison or this Arlington club before? Or you usually go to Addison. I was like, no, I've been here a couple times. I've been to Addison a few times. She's like, oh, because this is the most white people we've ever seen here. Like they're just old women who are like, not old, but you know, there's somebody they recognize. They just go to comedy clubs. They were done that. They were both single.
You know, if you're in it's usually if I'm in a different city, I'll be like, oh,
yeah,
nothing to do, comedy club. All right, let's just go see whoever's up there.
So I don't know. It's tough to figure it out culturally, like who's where. But the best thing you can do when you're a little fish out of water there, make sure. I find making fun of all races funny, right? So yes, it's a little awkward when the black comedian, is doing comedy about black people never being on time. I'm laughing very hard at that because that is a stereotype that is often true, folks. But I also laugh very hard at things about white people, almost universally true. So at that point, the lady, we were cool. We were talking. But they also had clearly not heard the F slur in a very long time.
The girls.
The older ladies. And they were, in a word, appalled. Like, almost walked out.
Oh.
A very, he did not. He did not. Now they're looking around at the crowd. But I wonder if it's because of the
context he threw it out in, too. If you had a joke where the word fag was a punchline or whatever.
It's possible. And it wasn't that. And that will get me to my last point, which is just, it was entertaining. I really liked the opener. And Jeremy Piven, he has a couple good lines, but mostly he's just telling stories and observations about what it's like to be Jeremy Piven, while also kind of complaining about the fact that everybody knows him because he's Jeremy Piven, who is Ari.
So he doesn't have a lot of relatable observational humor?
No, okay. But he does a very good job at making his presentation of what he views as his side of the story. You can tell when he's talking to us, he's a little mad at the world, maybe a little bit like, hey, why am I not Leo DiCaprio?
Why am I not bigger?
Yeah, and he projects that. And he does it in a funny way, but it's not what I would call stand-up comedy right now. But yeah, had a nice little night.
It's just interesting that you were sitting around and just decided, I'm going to go see Jeremy Piven. I'm going to go drive 30 miles away.
Thought it'd be just something to tell you guys on the show, and that's why I did it. You know, I don't know.
I know you did something else yesterday. Are we not getting that today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not ready to do it. I have a lot of audio and video to go through, but I did go yesterday to a reptile convention.
What?
In Grapevine. Repticon.
Now, I can see that. You knew it was a bit. It's in Grapevine.
Yeah. And listen, part of it, too, is when you stop drinking, there's this thing that happens to a lot of people where they get jammed up because they don't do anything after that. And it's that's not a way to live.
If your everything is built around drinking.
And you're I'm a guy who likes to go do stuff.
I go to baseball games because you can drink at the game.
And I still want to go do shit that I like doing.
Yeah.
And not just be I normally go to bed at 9 and I get up at 4:30. Sometimes I want to mix it up a little bit. So Repticon yesterday was at the Grapevine Convention Center, and Clayton has been before. It's a traveling.
No way.
It's a traveling affair. A lot of the vendors are traveling. A lot of them are local, but they set up a reptile convention, and it was awesome.
Did anybody there look like Clayton?
Half. It's exactly what you think it is.
I'm not throwing anything.
A buddy of mine went.
High heat there.
Well, let me tell you this: nicest group of folk you could ever encounter. You want to do some fun man on the street bits? You can't find a safer place than Reptile Place. I pulled up. My buddy went with me, and we filmed all of it and recorded whatever. And I pulled up, parked, and I'm like, "Are you here?" And he goes, "I'm here." And there are a lot of bumper stickers in this parking lot. That's what you're dealing with right there. Lots of bumper stickers.
Binion never came to the
I know. I think he's
Super Bowl.
I don't know.
I forgot. We had him.
Gun shy. But he went with me to ask tough questions like, have you ever owned a sword? It's exactly what you think it was. There were a lot of guys that looked like the comic book store owner from The Simpsons. There were a lot of dudes who this is their life. Like they grew up around reptiles. Got a little bit of a reptile nepo baby type vibe. Like, well, my dad had snakes, and now I have. And the other thing, I get the sense there's not a lot of people kind of into reptiles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, and you could take out snakes and stuff and hold them. I mean, they had snakes that were $1,000. They breed them, is what it is that there's people there that breed snakes and sell them for beautiful, beautiful animals.
So people are going to buy, sell, and trade reptiles?
Correct. And also reptile-related accessories. Your terrariums, your food, filtration system. I didn't see any mice, but yeah. I mean,
crickets.
There was a cricket place there, like passing out business cards. But nobody, you know how it is. Dan knows. He's got balls. He'll go do man-on-the-street stuff. It can suck because you have to find the right person. You have to approach them properly. Dude, this was
This was
rock.
layups.
It was just we'd wanted to leave an hour before, but then I'd pass somebody, and I'm like, fuck, we probably got to talk to this lady.
Yeah, and they're excited to talk.
Yeah.
They want you to know about their stuff.
Yeah, and
they
there
can't
were
believe
ladies.
they have a sword at home.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and how they crossbred this one with that one, and it was wild, dude. It was a wild time, but it was fun. Okay. It was a fun weekend.
So I wanted to do something for the show as well. So Saturday.
Somebody wants to do something for the show?
What was that supposed to be?
I don't know.
Doesn't bother me at all.
I went to the Mavs game.
Whoa! I did not know that.
I didn't either. He packaged this well.
Took the kid. Perfect time. 2 o'clock. Took the train down there, and we got there early, and I wanted to scope the building, look around.
How'd you score ticks?
Just bought them.
Did you?
And I tried. I thought that they would go down because I thought people were going to be selling off their tickets after this team. But as we got closer and closer to tip, the price kept going up and up and up. So I probably lost $40 trying to wait for a cheap ticket.
Yeah, for the AD debut, I could have told you that. Now, check in with me a month from now, especially with him hurt. But yeah, that one, there was a lot of excitement.
So you saved like 4 on that coffee this morning, so you're down 36.
Took the train, saved some money on parking.
Okay.
I've got an employee.
If we have your whole plus minus for the week.
Don't say what you're about to say.
And Brooks rides the train for free, so didn't spend much on the train.
Oh. I thought he was about to give away some sort of...
I don't park in that garage anymore.
Okay.
He took the train.
I know, but he started to say, I still have an employee something.
Oh, okay.
No, employee Dart Pass.
Okay.
And so that's for the year, so didn't spend any money on transportation or anything.
Wow.
So I'm probably still down a little.
And your plus minus for the week?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll get there.
I'd love to see your chart. Do you chart it like Tony,
no.
the engineer? Okay.
No, but I got days worth of food from Eatsies, so I won't be spending much on food.
Heck yeah.
And so I got down there, and I feel like it was a pretty hopping atmosphere for what game 50, And I started noticing that the trash cans outside of the arena were full of stuff, especially walking in. because I saw a bunch of signs that had writing on it that security made them throw away. So I don't think I saw any signs as you walked in there.
Yeah.
Now, there were people doing stuff outside, but once you got in, the first thing I heard was Sean Heath say, I don't know, respect, everyone's, just respect everybody. Any vulgar language or signs or anything, you will be removed from the game and suspended. Like, they said that message 4 or 5 times throughout the game, that if you were to start any sort of chant or yell anything, they were going to kick you out.
It's so ridiculous. It's just can't get worse.
So you can chant, "Fuck the refs."
Ref, you suck. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And everything's going to be fine. But if anything's actually directed your way,
dude, it's oh God. They can't. So I saw a Fire Nico shirt. You can't wear that in.
Yeah.
I guess when it comes to obscenity, some people think the word sucks is an obscenity. You can't chant "sell the team." You can't chant "Fire Nico."
I heard you can't even put a strip of tape over your Mavs logo.
That I had confirmed by several people.
Wow.
Several people.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the reasons I went was for the show. I wanted to see. I just wanted to be there and see what it was like in person, and there was nothing. There were no Nico chants. There were no Luka chants. There was nothing. It was like nothing had ever happened.
Yeah. So when they say, "Oh man, the fans really acted respectfully," and that, because I kind of heard Windhorse and Tim McMahon talking about this morning on their podcast, and they were kind of saying, yeah, there was a protest outside, but then once you got in, everything was fine. Like, they didn't have to go through what you went through. They went in the media entrance.
Well, also...
So they weren't really aware that there was a real concerted effort to make it appear, oh, yes, just a small protest outside. Nothing to be worried about because nobody inside, everything inside was fine, see?
And
on TV, it's fine.
Blared the music, from what I've heard, like nonstop. That's what my buddy who went
like
told
extra
me.
level?
Yeah.
To drown anything out?
That there was no chance, really, for a chant.
No showing fans on the Jumbotron, I believe.
Dude, I was watching.
Wow, you're right.
I was watching.
I did not notice that.
I did not, because I was watching live on League Pass, so there's no commercials.
Wow, I didn't
TV.
even.
They never went ever.
Okay.
And they did do a few games, but they were. I don't know. It felt like
they wouldn't do a trivia game with
they
a
didn't
fan.
do that. No,
let them have an answer.
They didn't do that.
Yeah.
They
did the ball in the cup thing.
The fry toss.
Yeah.
Whataburger for a year. Yeah, they did that. People said that, like, if you tried to start a chant, they were coming down to you.
I would like to hear from someone who, and they would never do it publicly. Someone who works there, I'd like to know what were the meetings like. All right, they get all the workers together and, all right, let's have a talk about what we're going to do, and this is what we will and will not accept, and all that kind of stuff. Because clearly those people were threatened with their jobs, and I would like to hear from someone behind the scenes. We'll keep you anonymous.
My section tried to not, and I was not involved in it, but like a bring back Luka chant, but I didn't see it. Just kind of fizzled.
This one this guy had a sign with his son. It just says, "First Mavs game. Where's Luka? Thanks, Nico." They said anything to do with Nico was banned. You pussies. Dude, this is sports. This is how it works. Like, you get to go yell and cheer or boo at people. It's the one thing, we have a public space here. This is part of the reason why you make so much money, because you are available to public criticism. Don't go to the guy's house. Don't yell at him when he's trying to get his free coffee. But if you're at the game,
right,
the game
at
is
the game.
game.
And it's like the team is like, well, we are respectful. We are not going to put up a hate video or something like that. But the fans can be just the fans. They're the ones that paid the big money to be there.
Yeah, it's very, very annoying. And more than anything, I can just tell you, you guys can't do this forever.
Well, they can.
Well, they're going to do it for the Lakers game.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
So
We're going to be there.
we'll see.
I made sure to get there in plenty of time because I wanted to hear Anthony Davis get introduced. And so when it finally hit me that Luka was not here anymore, it was just all of their pregame packages didn't have him in there. And I thought,
Dude, they had to scramble to
that's what
redo
I know.
Everything on the website.
Yes.
They have M77L signs everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everything around everything was built around him. It was basically the Dallas Lucas.
I saw a Choctaw billboard on Sunday, and they're an official sponsor of the Mavs, and they had the M77L up on Sunday. I'm like, boy.
Yeah.
Tough
That's
to
a
get
choice.
that billboard down.
I think it might have been digital.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean,
but still, there's a lot to
yeah.
cover. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how do
there
we
is. They
how
got
do we
three.
scrub all of this stuff in a
had to
week?
Had to take down the pillar at Love Field. That one sucked. That was always a cool thing to see when you show up there.
No.
But
yeah, it was huge.
It was City Edition. They were in their white City Edition uniforms, which they had the package up for it.
Did you
And
wear the Kyrie I bought you?
no, I'm sorry. But it was just like a lot of Kyrie, some Clay, some Daniel Gafford, and it's just like, okay, like this was probably mostly Luka before. All their highlights are now just. It just felt a little weird, like trying to remove your ex from your Facebook or something.
Yeah, did
Just
they?
strange.
What about how did Clay get so open? Did they show the guy making that pass? Did they
Yeah,
show
I
who
mean-
is giving the lob, or did they just cut that out?
I
too?
was thinking that Luka has missed some time, so they probably had plenty of footage. But you're right. But there, no passing. Like there's Luka in the background, or that's Luka on the pass, or on the lob, or it was just like he never existed.
Insane, dude. And what are they going to do? This is a topic over the weekend with the boys. Are they going to do a video?
Probably not.
They're
Like when
not
he
going to
comes
do
back?
a tribute video to Luka. I think I agree with you, and that's insane.
When they do it for everyone else, KP, Dorian, who were great, but
Brunson, even. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Guy leads you to the
Carlisle. Well, I guess he won a title, but anyway. So I was very. I don't know. It just felt weird watching all of that, and then I was very curious to hear the reception that Anthony Davis got, and he got a huge ovation.
He should.
And I think it's partially due to excitement that you're ready to see him play and watch it, but I think the other half is how mad some people are, and he's getting some of the brunt of that. And so I think they were just trying to make him feel welcome. And
to show, hey, it's not you,
it's not
bro.
right.
Which is
I mean,
cool.
it is you. Like we don't want to trade Luka for you, but
Yeah, but
like we don't want to trade Luka for Jokic.
no.
We don't want to trade Luka for Giannis.
Yeah.
No, or
You know,
10
the
picks
whole
or
thing
whatever.
is,
No, but
do you want to? I don't want to trade. Although sometimes I do. I don't want to trade my daughter for someone else who has a better GPA and is ahead of her in
doesn't
life.
need any money.
Yeah, she's already. We just traded your daughter, your 20-year-old daughter, for she's 26. She's an accountant. She's already making $150,000 a year. Like she's on her own. Like, oh wow, I don't have to live through this. Like the immaturity that I'm dealing with right now, on looking for a job and doing this and that. Like, yeah, it's pretty frustrating.
Why don't you just give up?
I wish I could just, and now she wants to go to graduate school. I'm going to give more money to this immature person again. So I think I would like to look around and see if I could get a different kid who is a little older. And,
no, I think if you did that, you would be considered a psychopath without any human feelings.
Luka was our kid.
And that's what it feels like we're dealing with here. That or just
You saw him.
tone deaf.
We basically saw him get born.
Yeah.
In the NBA world,
Yeah.
we saw him at birth. We tricked this other family to get this baby. We recognized it.
That's
and
what
then
that's
nurtured it.
Can I say something real quick? That's a funny thing to me that you'll hear people say like, well, that's the Mavs have decided they're out of the Luka Doncic business, which again I'd still like to hear who that is besides Nico. And they're like, look, that's 4 teams now. They the Suns, the Kings, the Hawks, and now the Lakers, or excuse me, now the Mavs. I'm like, Well, you should go ask those first 3 teams if they regret that or not.
Yeah, they fired
Because
their
that's
GMs
not a good
for not
point.
picking him.
Yeah, and they haven't been close to where the Mavs are. Well, I mean, obviously the Hawks did have a one shining moment, but still, like all 3 of those teams would be like, yeah, do over, please. And you saw that those 3 teams felt that way and were like, we'd like a piece of that. We'd like to be in on the boy. We really regret not having Luka deal. But the good news is that he did get a good response and he played great. And that was fun to watch, whether you're a Mavs fan or not, because he was doing the like, oh, I'm effing here.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
so he comes out, he gets a huge ovation, and it was like, you had so much energy pregame, and then once you finally got in your seat, everything was settled. It was now like, okay, go ahead, what you got? And he didn't disappoint. I mean, I think one of the first plays that he made an impact was defensively. I think he got a block, which led to a fast break bucket, and then you can just kind of sense that, like, the energy in the place is kind of growing. And then I remember he hit an early 3, and everyone went nuts.
That was awesome.
And then he had the put-back dunk, and then it's just so much better being there in person because you just, like, you get to focus in on what you want to see. And just watching him do the put-back dunk, Houston calls timeout. He walks to center court doing this, and then the camera goes to him, and he says, I'm here. And everyone is just like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool to watch.
It's a weird situation because you still are like, man, I really don't want anything good to happen that could seem good for Nico Harrison. So you're like, boy, Anthony Davis seems like a cool guy. Still love the players they have, but them winning means Nico feels good about himself, which I never want to have happen again. So it's tricky, but in the moment, I got a little caught up myself. But same thing, right? Flip side of that, I don't want Anthony Davis to be hurt.
No.
It doesn't do me any good. But the fact that he is hurt,
It's not that big of a surprise.
it's certainly not a surprise.
He's
I mean,
missed
he's hurt when you.
He's missed way more games over the past 5 years than Luka has.
Yeah,
And
he's old.
yes, your rationale for Luka was, I don't think he's going to hold up.
Yeah, and I don't want
So
him
let me
to,
go get.
I don't want him to get hurt, but at the same time, when I see now he's out indefinitely, I am sad to say it makes me happy.
I got an email.
Because I know it makes Nico look dumb.
Can I read you an email? Let's not mistake this This is from Nick. Let's not mistake this AD injury for a random variance injury, such as somebody stepping on a foot and twisting an ankle. This injury is likely correlated to the extreme non-AD/non-sustainable effort he gave in the first half, an outstanding half, and is not something that a 30-plus-year-old AD will ever be able to maintain. The Nico apologist, I can't see that there's many of those, but will say they see Nico knew what he was doing. But I assert the first half performance is fool's gold if you think that is what the AD experience will be. This trade, given AD's injury history, is doomed. I will say that 2 years from now, Max Christie will be the silver lining and a good foundational and versatile piece. Would have been cool if Nico could have somehow got Christie without giving up someone who would almost certainly go down as a top 15 player of all time. So basically, it was a great half. It was unbelievable, but you're just not going to get that for 4 quarters a game for 82 games.
No, I mean...
You're going to get good spurts of that, but probably less and less as time goes on because he's at the end of his prime, where Luka is just entering his prime.
The one thing I would disagree with Nick on, and I tried to touch on this in the D Magazine piece I wrote, but it was probably out there before people were ready to talk about it. No, he's not going to put up 24 plus and a half often. But when he's able to play, and if he's playing 65 games a year, he's playing enough, your defense is going to be top 5. Like, there's really just no way around that.
But how about weigh that against the loss of offense?
It's horrible. You were already very good defensively.
Everything.
You weren't a bad defensive team.
The thing about the offense is everything ran through this guy. Like, you can't say 2 minutes left. We're going to give it to AD and get out of the way. Like, you can with Luka. Now, and Luka can also make it easier for others than in that last 5 minutes to
like
score.
Jokic can.
Yeah.
AD doesn't AD's an underrated passer, but he's not a Jokic or a facilitating big. So.
And Luka average, what was he last year? 34, 9, and 9?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, it's what are you going to say? But again,
and he was having a bad year this year because he was like 32, 8, and 8.
But then it was a quiet night. Everybody's like, "Oh, the injury's not as bad as we think it is." And then this motherfucker. I wake up Sunday morning.
Yeah, I read that he was trying to get back into the game in the fourth quarter. Like, oh yeah, it's not that bad.
Oh, we're talking about Sunday. It was
no, he's talking about
Dumont.
Patrick Dumont started talking. Did you hear this?
No, go ahead.
I'm not plugged in because I wasn't prepared to
Well,
play
let's do it.
audio.
Let me first tell you about Elite Rides DFW.
Ooh, yeah.
Got a couple spots today. But that's how you can get to the game. Instead of the Dart, you can go your premier transportation solution. That's what a lot of people will do. You got a group of guys going to a game.
Ladies.
Maybe a group of ladies going to
Repticon.
Elite Rides DFW at 844-RIDE-DFW. Mention the Dumb Zone. Or use the promo code DZ15 and you get 15% off your first ride.
You can also download their app, their new mobile app that's available wherever you get your apps. It's got an AI agent for booking. They call it Al, short for, I believe it's Allie.
There you go.
That'll seamlessly book you a ride. Answer a few quick questions. You get a quote for the ride. It's right there. They're on time every time. They'll help you with travel to major events. So go download that app right now. And then use the promo code DZ15 for 15% off your first ride. Wherever you're going, go with Elite Rides DFW.
Did we do the website, eliterides-dfw.com?
We have now.
All right.
We can do this now if you want. Why not? It's a minute long, and it's first the article just came out. It was from Brad Townsend, and he spoke to Dumont Saturday night. I don't exactly know the context here, but it's very clear that when Dumont did not have to be goaded into this. This was like a, hey, care to comment? He's like, yes, I would. I've been waiting to tell everybody what I think about this.
Was Nico at the game?
No. Not at all. Not in the seats, not in the suite.
Cowardly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, cowardly that he's not the guy talking to Brad Townsend.
Also, pretty chicken shit to put Followell out there for that press conference the other day.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
A couple days ago, you were laughing your dick off out here in Cleveland.
What was that?
They introduced Anthony Davis and Max Christie the other day, and they had Followell MC it.
Yeah, and Caleb Martin.
Nico wasn't there?
No. You can't hide forever, though, bud. You're going to have to come to one of these games, and you're going to have to hear it from all of us. And then you're going to have to keep hearing it until you quit or they fire you. But right now, doesn't sound like they're going to be firing him. Here's the owner.
In my mind, the way teams win is by focus, by having the right character, by having the right culture, and having the right dedication to work as hard as possible to create a championship winning outcome. And if you're not doing that, you're going to lose.
You would know, right?
So he said, in my mind, the way teams win. That was his thing.
Yeah. And if you don't do it that way, you're going to lose.
And if you're not doing that, you're going to lose. And if you look at the greats in the league, the people you and I grew up with, Jordan.
Way too long to name a second basketball player. Way too long.
Jordan. Bird. Magic. Kobe. Shaq. They worked really hard every day.
Okay. Let's slow down a little bit here. Watched Shaq last week tell everybody I haven't worked out in the summer in my entire life.
Yeah, so let's break this whole thing down.
Yeah.
Who was it? Jordan, Bird. Who?
Magic. Shaq and Kobe.
Okay. Magic tagging every single piece of ass he could.
Didn't cost him anything in his career, though.
No, but as far as
it
out
did.
partying, yeah, I guess it did. I'm sorry. It cost him his entire effing career.
Yeah, he was no longer able to bleed in public.
Larry Bird, off seasons would be cementing his own driveway or some shit. Like, he'd get hurt in the off season because he was farming.
Yeah.
He wasn't sitting there just working on basketball. That's Michael Jordan. I'll give you Michael Jordan.
And probably Kobe. But he also came with his off.
You know what else I'll give you as a comp with Michael Jordan is like every statistical, youngest player since, and then it would be Michael Jordan and LeBron. So, yes. Kobe, maniacal work ethic, I do believe a lot of that, his rep changed over time. Certainly had a quick rape trial. But he was also a bit of a petulant child that had to, like, mature into this. Oh, he wasn't he wasn't ready to roll at the age of 20 or 23 or whatever. He kind of had to grow into that. Shaq, that's a hilarious one because, yes, the reason Kobe wanted Shaq out of L.A. because this guy won't work as hard as me. Who's the other one?
Well documented.
Was there another one?
No, Magic. He went with the 3 Lakers, but there wasn't, Dirk.
And let me read you Haralabob's tweet. The arena sits on a street named Nowitzki Way. Out front, a statue honors him, and his silhouette is etched onto the court. And yet, when it came time to reach deep for an example of a relentless worker, someone who set the cultural tone of an organization who could serve as a barometer for his work ethic, he came up with Shaq. And let's talk about Dirk. Let's talk about the fact that he's employed by the team. And if you're really trying to reach Luka, because you couldn't because you're a shoe salesman, and you couldn't because you're you're not that great of a coach. You're Jason Kidd. You were a superstar at one point, but if things you're saying to him are falling on deaf ears, there is a guy that he does listen to, that he straightens up when he walks into a room, that he wants to impress, and that is Dirk. And maybe you pull Dirk aside. Maybe you need to develop a really good relationship with Dirk because you're a relationship guy, right? Develop that relationship so that you can implore him to, hey, maybe you need to get a little closer to him. You know what? We'll pay you more. We'll do whatever. Like, let's usher him now into the next stage. You helped usher him into the first stage of his career, and that really helped, I think. Having you around those first couple of years is not lost on this organization, what that meant in getting Luka going in the right direction. But he does really look up to you. Maybe you guys could talk about how you changed your habits and this and that, and you wouldn't have won your title until, just kind of work with us. We do pay you and stuff, and
yeah, and I think some of that has been happening. But I know that they're close. Maybe they could, but also he's 25. Like,
that's
just give it more time. Of Dirk's not going to come in and be like.
But do you blame the player, or like I thought you brought in these coaches for a certain reason. You brought in Jason Kidd not to relate to the guy on the bench. That's how a lot of coaches are brought in. Your Rick Carlisle was a grinder. You brought him in just to motivate this superstar. So I would have to say, if there's a failure here, it's with the guy I hired as coach, and I'll get a different coach then. I need his Phil Jackson that'll make him read a book or about Zen or whatever the F, In fact, I believe that's when Kobe turned a bit of a corner.
For sure.
When Phil Jackson came in. Before that, you know what? Kobe was immature like a lot of players under 25 are.
Yeah, the kid angle is very interesting. I wish we could know. I hope that we learn more about it in the coming weeks, because
I'm viewing them as a team.
Right now, I kind of am too.
I just can't believe that Jason Kidd didn't know anything because I would want my coach, like I even think Carlisle, for the butting heads that he did with Luka. If you said to Carlisle, hey, I'm thinking of trading him, no!
Yeah.
It's great having him as a coach because it really does make me a better coach. I can do so much more with him on the floor. And I think Jason Kidd said, you know what? You got a point here. He isn't listening to us. And yes, Anthony Davis, hard worker, I can make this work because you know what? Let me tell something that Run the Ball Blake would love to hear. Defense wins championships.
Hell yeah, it does.
Does it?
You need to be top 10. You don't need to put all your I think it's probably 65-35. And there have been studies on this. I'm out of touch on my.
Like, what are we, the 1984 Pistons or whatever the hell they,
You know what wins championships?
We're holding teams under 80 every game. We're winning games 90 to 88.
Good teams in the NBA make their free throws.
Maverick, Luka, historically a little lower than you'd expect.
Wouldn't practice his free throws. They're free.
Yeah, you know what? He should work on them harder. Like, I don't know, Shaq.
No, to me, that's a guy that doesn't believe anything he says. He's just regurgitating what someone else has told him.
Sounds that way.
Oh, we have more?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
They worked really hard every day with a singular focus to win. And if you don't have that, then it doesn't work. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be part of the Dallas Mavericks. That's who we want. I'm unwavering on this. The entire organization knows this. This is how I operate outside of basketball. This is the only way to be competitive and win. If you want to take a vacation, don't do it with us.
Well, there must be a guy who just kind of worked so hard, he worked his way into the position he's in life. Is that right? Did he just do that? He was just so good at business that he had to be elevated to running a team?
No, his in-laws are rich.
Yeah, I mean, he was a maid. I'm sure his parents were super well. If you're starting out at Bear Stearns, I don't know. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel like we're being trolled
so
by the
wait,
world.
he married
here.
the daughter of the people who bought the team, and that's why they're like, well, we'll let him run the team.
Yeah, he knows a lot about basketball. I mean, this is how, but it's any business. This is how you win. You win with a singular focus. This guy, look, dude, yes. The guy yells at refs. He's not in 100% shape physically all the time. He took a week off earlier this year to try to get in better shape when his wrist was hurting him, and they said, hey, it's his wrist. It was really that he was trying to get in better game shape. He's playing 40 minutes a night in the playoffs and leading you to the finals. This guy's problem right here is he doesn't know what a killer looks like. Because he doesn't know that, like, oh, yeah, the dude has some beers. And he's at 13% instead of 10% body fat. No one cares when the ball is in his hand with 2 minutes left. What the other team that he's playing, the other team's not like, I got his ass. I know he didn't lift yesterday.
Yeah.
They're not like, I got his ass. I know he went with the tiramisu last night. You know what they're thinking? They're thinking I'm terrified because we're facing a killer, and they don't make many of those. You don't meet many of those.
And that's what Anthony Edwards said in Game 4 or 5. I don't remember. They were going to come out on fire, but then Luka hit 4 straight threes.
That's
and
when he goes,
we lost.
Luka, that MFer had other intentions.
Yeah. So there was a picture circulating around of Luka. What was it? He had ice pack on his chest. He was getting his knee wrapped. He had something for his shoulder in the Celtics series. And most of us looked at that picture and saw, dude, what a warrior. Like, he's battling through injuries. He's playing 40 minutes a night. He's carrying this team to the finals. And Nico saw that picture and was like, out of shape. How can you do that? Kobe would never be wrapped up like that after or before a game.
Yeah, I'm losing my mind. And especially what pisses me off about these comments is this is after he saw the way that people bit the bullet and supported the team on Saturday. They saw that people came out and cheered for Anthony Davis and got really, really excited for the rest of the guys. The best thing that could have happened for Nico and Dumont happened Saturday. And then that night he's like, I'm going to burn this thing right back to the ground. Shit on our superstar. To say nothing of what this makes you look like to other teams. Because here's the thing. Luka's not thought of like that throughout the league. He's not Tristan Thompson, where every team's like, I don't even know. This guy's kind of a weirdo. He shows up when he wants to. The rest of the league thinks the guy's a killer. I don't know.
So the
Very
show,
disconcerting.
we have a show account for the Mavs TV, and I want to cancel it. I think we have to, just for the symbolism.
That's fine.
I
have
knew
a
I'd
way
get
to
that
watch.
word.
I'm
Like,
still
I
going to
just
write
don't-
about the Mavs.
I just don't think we should give them our money on that.
It's fine with me. I think we did an annual, though, didn't we?
Well, still,
No.
and I've heard from other people who have done an annual, but they were watching the game. I was talking to Spinks this weekend,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah, I'm watching the Mavs game. I actually canceled, but I had paid for the year up front." But I just want another number on that list. I want if it's 3,000, I want it to get to 4,000. I just want them to know that they are idiots. I want it to be a financially worse situation for them because a lot of this decision, I believe, was made financially. In fact, that had to be the entire basis for it. That's what I thought in the beginning, and that's what I still think, just because they weren't the ones here when Luka signed his extension. When Cuban was like, I'd get divorced before I got rid of Luka. And, did you see some Nico clips floating around online this weekend of what Nico had said at that press conference?
That he's taking the job because of Nico? Or because of Luka? Which one are you talking about?
Nico was at the Luka signing an extension press conference and just did the regular – he was working for Cuban at that point, and so we've realized Nico didn't truly believe what he was saying, that he's, what a great young player, and it's a pleasure to be around him and build around him. And
Yeah,
makes our jobs easier.
The sensible things to say.
But who would have thought he didn't actually believe it?
No one. But I will tell you, for whatever it's worth, that this is not included in the audio, but he did address the financial part of it and went with the absolutely not. That he addressed hey, well, I don't know why anybody thinks we're moving the team. We have businesses all over the world. We have no interest in moving to Vegas, which what are you going to say? But
I believe that.
I do believe that.
I believe you're not going to move a team out of the top 5 market into Vegas.
Yeah. But he categorically denied that the trade was financially driven.
It's not.
So if there was no
It's just
Supermax due next summer, that this trade would have still been made. That's what I'm to believe.
I honestly and truly believe Nico Harrison got tired of dealing with Luka's bullshit. He was tired of him being overweight, out of condition, and he was just really tired of someone that was just not going to listen to anything he said.
When you get tired of that is when the production doesn't match the...
Well, and then maybe it is a touch financial because you know that you're about to have to sign up to 5 more years of this guy. But, boy, I wouldn't be surprised if Kidd had a little bit of input here.
Yeah.
Or
I wouldn't either.
Just, I don't know, just tired of
just
having
because
to
I
deal
don't
with
think
him.
they do it if Kidd screams, do not do it.
No, I think that probably would have carried some weight. I think it would have carried more weight than Cuban, because apparently, Cuban, according to Mark Stein, kind of tried to throw a Hail Mary.
He jumped into this somehow?
Yeah.
He knew about it?
Yeah. At the very end, and they said it wasn't enough.
What does that mean?
Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's... Yeah, I signed up for the old...
The Stein line?
By the time Cuban found out about the
bet
Luka
he's-
for AD trade, it was too late. Dumont never approached for advice. Sources say Cuban urged Harrison not to go ahead with the swap, only to find out that the deal had already been sealed with the Lakers by verbal handshake. Verbal handshake.
We're still doing that?
To me, if I'm Cuban...
That doesn't mean shit, especially
No.
Cuban's been burned by that before.
If I'm Cuban, I call Mark Stein right away. And I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
league sources say, and you just torpedo the deal. I'm sure there's legal ramifications for that, although, you do have the privacy of speaking with a journalist. Then Mark continues, Stein. In truth, he has clearly been stung, league sources, by the lack of advance warning he had on the deal, yet another harsh signal that he's been pushed farther and farther away from the front office than he ever imagined after his very public belief at the time of the sale in 2023 that he would retain oversight of basketball operations. And we talked about this. There was an article that Stein had in November where he talked to Cuban, and Cuban basically said, hey, this is not going how they told me it would. Forbidden this season by the NBA to take his seat behind the Mavs bench at road games, and that he, quote, did not have the say-so over basketball matters that he anticipated when the sale was agreed to. Which is interesting because TC brought this up to me the other day. We don't make a big enough deal out of how little they sold for. That should have been way more.
What was it?
I don't remember, but it was that doesn't feel like a bank breaker. And stands to reason that Cuban's like, yeah, I'm not trying to bend these people over. Like, I want to work here. I still want to be a guy who's involved. I own 27% of the team, or whatever the specific number turned out to be, and that's not what it turned out to be. He's basically just like me or you. Except I would have called Mark Stein. And I have a lot of, I mean, there's so many different angles.
$3.5 billion.
We haven't talked about Kyrie. Like, I don't want to believe that Kyrie knew about this or was supportive of it. He seemed genuinely very sad when talking about it right after the trade. But then he made some comments this weekend that I'm like, that's a little weird.
Well,
like, oh, I just want to have a better environment around me.
I think that Kyrie is a man who has learned, much like you perhaps, right? You've learned, like, you've got to deal with life in a certain way, and you want positivity surrounding you.
Yeah, what does it help him to
and
just...
to if he would come out and just be pissed, and like he knows within himself, yes, this just confirms what I've thought, and it's a harsh business, and guess what? Guess who's going to be asking for a max this summer, because these guys are up against it. Had they still had Luka and Kyrie's a free agent, there's no way he gets a max deal.
Yeah, that's true.
He would get whatever he could get on the open market, which wouldn't be as much as the Mavs could give him, and the Mavs could negotiate that to what they wanted. But he is definitely very much needed right now, because if he walks, you're really effed. Just a quick Google search says here, Mark Cuban, majority owner for 2 decades, retained a 27% stake in the team. The unique sale valued the club at $3.5 billion, whereas an open market sale would have likely produced a much higher bid.
That's what I'm saying, is that there was some sort of weird... that when you do that, I'm about to get way out of my depths, but I have heard of people who did this before. They and I guess you have to write it down, paper it up, that when you just sell to one person, there's no bidding, there's no, like, give me all your offers. It's like a show of, like, hey, I want to keep dealing with you.
I also remember back in the day when that happened, we heard of a term that we were enamored by, which was control share. Mm-hmm. Like, I could own 10% of the team, but I own the control share. Which apparently he doesn't. But we were thinking that he did.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, and he said at the time, like, hey, this is going to, and I read a couple things about this weekend, like, hey, the next phase of owning teams is going to be about real estate, right? Hotels, casinos, development. And Cuban just said, hey, that's not really my game.
Like, that's their game, and they, with their stewardship, this will increase the value of this franchise exponentially, and his 27% will be worth just as much as his 100%.
Exactly.
Today, yeah.
In the same way that he was with media and technology in the early 2000s, that's how they are with slot machines. And so he probably, that was the reason. It gets murkier when you get to the how much control did he think he was going to have versus how much he had. I get the sense that Nico really didn't like Mark Cuban, which is interesting because nobody else was going to hire him. But who knows, man? It's a mess.
Well,
it's still,
but not when you look at it in the lens of when we were talking to Ethan Strauss last week. The thought of Nico getting hired was not to actually be the GM. It was to be the relationship guy, part of my multifaceted GM-ship. I have this guy over here. I got Haralabob over here. I got Donnie Nelson over here. They do different things. They war at times. But I love having these great minds to pick from. And in the end, I'm Mark Cuban. I make the final say on things. I might not do the day-to-day, but I'm you're not going to make a huge deal without Mark Cuban being involved or having the say-so, or at least convincing Mark Cuban. Whereas this Patrick Dumont, business guy, not fan. Mark Cuban was a rabid fan. He was a crazy fan before he bought the team. That's why he bought the team. But he hired Nico he sees the way the wind is blowing in the NBA. Oh, look how the Nets got these superstars because they know each other and they have relationships and they have the same agent. What if we have a guy who has relationships across the league because he worked for Nike And he could help us get players in that way. Maybe, he's got a tie with so-and-so. He's got a tie with Kyrie. That did work out.
Yeah, in that role, it seemed like he would have been
But on the
fine.
GM, yeah.
But I don't know. It comes in waves. There's times where I forget about it for a minute, and then it doesn't seem real, and it'll hit me again. And then I read the stories this weekend, the Mark Stein one about Cuban, where, it said Cuban had privately told, but we all knew that his dream was to have Luka play here his whole career. How incredible
it was
would
all
it
of
have
our
been?
dream.
Yeah, but but Cuban, and that's part of the deal too, right? Is that Cuban wanted that, so maybe he was making concessions on how they, quote, deal with Luka that Nico and maybe even Kidd didn't want to deal with, right? That Cuban had set it up like, look, this is his organization. We're going to do whatever he wants. And that's the way it should have been. And that guy wanted to stay here, and that it's gone. It's just, I can't. And here's the thing. I was holding out hope that Dumont would be like, I empower Nico. If this is the decision Nico thinks he can make, that he should make, this is what we're going to go with. This will be his referendum and his report card. We'll see how it goes. Then if they fired Nico in a couple years, I could still be like, we'll see about this next guy. But now I know the owner's a cunt.
Right.
And the owner's saying the same. You just don't
That's
talk
why-
like this about a guy
that's why I can't be a
who
Mavs
did
fan.
so much for your city.
Right now, I cannot be a Mavs fan because you can't chant sell your team at your team. They're not going to.
He's going to say that in 2 years when Nico gets fired. This is how business people operate.
Yeah, you're right.
He's going to say, Nico approached me about the trade. Would love to have Luka back. We hear he's a free agent this summer. We'd love to make this whole. This is how these snakes operate.
Well,
he's not going back to Dumont.
Zero chance. Dude, after this, like, we had, this is like one of the best sports stretches of my life, following Luka and watching him with my friends and learning everything about him and him putting you in a better mood just by flipping something on in the first quarter of a Tuesday night game at Orlando. And to, on the way out, be like, if you want to take a vacation, take it somewhere else. Oh, really? What are you logging 80 hours a week for, 362 days a year over here?
Dude, people asked me,
fuck that guy,
especially
man.
after we left the ticket, was like, well, what's your show about? What do you do on your show? What kind of sports do you do? And I'm like, well, we focus more on, get in depth more on the things we really care about, and we can just kind of ignore stuff if we're not really into it. That's a difference in how we have to operate.
Sure.
But I said, they're like, well, what do you focus on? I'm like, pretty much the Cowboys and Luka. Like, that's what I would say. Not the Cowboys and the Mavs. Although, because Luka's on the Mavs, I would be very interested in Mavs moves and all that kind of stuff. And I do like a lot of the guys, and I got to know, we got to know them watching them and talking to some of them and all that. But we covered them because the Mavs, like Luka is like the Cowboys. He's like the franchise. Like I said, when LeBron left Cleveland, that was a team leaving. Like, that was the whole thing. That's kind of the way the NBA is. That's kind of the way basketball is, where one guy can mean so much. No one is going to pick the Mavs to win a series that they are mismatched in the series because Anthony Davis is on the team. Like, you just never know. He can elevate the take a look at the Lakers' record the last few years. They will, though. The Mavs, they could be the 8th seed against the 1 seed, and you're like, I don't know. They have Luka. Anything can happen in this 7-game series. I just don't know. That's the kind of person and player he is.
Yeah, that to me, I felt the swagger when I went to go see him. Like, personally, I've told you guys this. Like, you'd walk into the arena and you could feel it. Like, oh, everybody in here knows. When it comes down to it, like, we've got the guy they wish they had.
And he does it with a smile.
And it's the same shit as when you would root against, like, Steph Curry. You knew.
Yeah,
you're like, dude.
He's this
and
special.
Then it happens, and you're like, ugh. Speaking of Steph, I was thinking about him this weekend and reading about him. He only missed, like, significant time in one of his first 5 years due to the ankle. He had, like, 5 ankle surgeries between college and his first 4 or 5 years in the league. And if you remember, the reason they got him cheap was actually because a lot of people are like, that's never going to hold up. And they believed in him, and who knows? A lot of it's luck. his ankles could have snapped. But Steph Curry, there was a lot of concerns about Steph Curry and his body in his early 20s. But they didn't just bail on him because he wanted to be there. Remember Kevin Durant couldn't bench the bar with a plate at the combine? Like, that'll never work out. 2 weeks, doesn't work out. You kill me.
The other thing, Iztok put this in a great way, but it's things we were thinking, I think. After hearing the DeMont stuff, the high standards that the Dallas Mavericks hold, Iztok says, Mavs organization having the highest standards for Luka, but nobody else. Before Luka came to Dallas, the Mavs didn't win one first round in 7 years. Kidd had been a disaster in previous coaching stops. Nico, zero front office experience. Luka was a top 5 player, 5 times All-NBA, made the Western Conference Finals. What had the others done? And somebody replied, it's funny how a generational talent can make everyone else look like they're really good at what they do. So, yes, Mike Brown has a wonderful coaching record. He also happened to have his first job as LeBron's coach. That makes a lot of a difference, you know. Who's the new who was the Lions defensive coordinator last year?
Aaron Glenn.
So he'll, you know, it's going to be tough to judge Aaron Glenn totally. You know, is he as good as Dan Campbell? Don't know until he's coaching Dan Campbell's team with those players on it. You know, he's going to be coaching the Jets, who now are looking for a quarterback, and they're kind of in disarray. It's going to be, you know, it's tougher to judge when you hire a coach. Greg Popovich is a Hall of Fame coach, thought of as perhaps the best coach of all time. How was he, you know, after Tim Duncan retired and before they got Wemby?
Well, they're about to learn what life is like. They're about to learn what life is like because now they're going to have to stand on their own. We'll see what happens.
And you can't just say, oh, just tough luck with this AD injury. No, you traded for a guy that this is his history. Yeah, might work hard, harder than Luka perhaps. But, you know, maybe Jake works harder than Luka. You're not going to hire him. You know, there is something about a deep down innate talent. Anyway, we went right from mid-weekend check right into...
Sorry, I thought it was a good weekend check you had.
Mavs talk. No, I think that's great, but I just don't... I know how you like to label everything and time everything because I think we're just kind of morphing in and out. Because my weekend check...
He's not saying it's mid.
It's fine.
Okay.
I said it was great.
No, you said you would go from your mid-weekend check...
We went mid-weekend. No, it's not mid. Yes, we were in the middle of...
That wasn't worth the stop down, was it, Blake?
Sorry.
No, I got one more thing from the game, but we can do that after the break if you want.
Well, go ahead. Because
I'm
shifting into football with my weekend check.
I needed either yell at kids in the dirt, Kristen, or I'm a Karen, Dan's wife at the game.
What'd you have to deal with?
Well, hopefully your wife will age, as ours have, and she'll mature into a Karen. That's what we all see it. You know, my wife wasn't a Karen, but at some point we got a pile of dirt, and she yelled at some kids in it, and then from then on it's like, okay. And Jake's just seeing the evolution of...
Maybe.
Yeah.
I had, I think it was 2 kids behind me that...
This at the game?
Yeah, that would scream at the right time, free throws or when the Jumbotron says get loud. But it wasn't a how loud can you get scream. It was, you know when kids like reach deep down inside and it's that high-pitched scream?
Piercing?
That pierces your ears? It was right behind me, right in my ears. And it was like it hurt. They would do it and I would put my head down and I couldn't.
This is so old, man.
It just hurt. But the thing
does hurt, though.
But it was I know, but and all the people around me would do the thing where they'd like look back up and then I would just make eye contact with them and be like Jim from The Office. Like,
Which
And
didn't intimidate them at all.
No, he's saying people down. You're saying people down would look back up at you.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh, I
behind
see.
you.
All
So
right,
to
I'm
look
sorry.
behind me, and I would just I'm looking for anyone to just
Like you're
can
agreeing.
you believe this?
Yeah.
So it wasn't just affecting me; it was affecting the entire section.
Oh,
And so-
think of the community.
Think of everyone. Okay, so, but watching the game, I just had this internal battle of, well, they are doing it at the right time. It's not like just all the time. However, why don't you police your kid just a touch because they're hurting other people. I need my ears for a living. So I needed someone next to me to yell at him or at least look at I don't know. It's a man, I don't know. These two parents just did not give an F about what their kids were doing. It just drove me crazy.
It's so great
It
to
hurt,
see
dude.
Jake.
It seriously, it rang in my ears. And I had a ringing in my ears.
It's still great to see this.
It really is. What time today do you have your review of Kevin Costner's Yellowstone to Yosemite? Because the guy you're describing to me is stoked on shows like that.
How about
After I get
Criminal
done-
Minds or
What was it?
what are the shows on TV? Chicago Fire. Are you watching
yeah.
that?
I was a big Matlock guy until they hired Kathy Bates to play Matlock.
Sure.
too woke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see Sherlock Holmes's new hit TV show?
Yeah, run the ball guy. He's black now. You're just going to
A
have
black
to get over
Brit?
it.
Are you
You're
serious?
just going to have to get
Are you
over it.
against sporting events being on cable?
Hey, speaking of cable, Ownwell. Ownwell.com/thedumbzone.
Are we doing an Ownwell spot right
now?
here?
Am I the villain here? You don't let your kids high-pitched scream?
You did the right thing. You did nothing, and then you bitched to your friends about it.
Okay.
That's the way this works. Ownwell will help you, like they did Blake, save money on your property taxes, but they can literally also help you with things like your cable bill. Tell us all about it, Blake Jones.
Well, you sign up. You see that their hook is property taxes, which they save me some money on my property taxes. And I thought, awesome, handshakes, we go our separate ways. No! I'm in their auto appeal program where they check my property taxes every year. I don't have to do anything.
Nothing.
And then periodically throughout the year, they tell you, hey, we're going to check in on your internet bill. Hey, we're going to just see about this little cable bill here. And they just save me money year-round.
Auto short for automatic,
Think so.
not autoerotic asphyxiation.
Sign up in just 3 minutes. 25%. You pay zero up front. That rate that you do pay them in the event they get you money is lower than what you're going to see from other companies of the same ilk. So go check them out at ownwell.com/thedumbzone. Ownwell.com/thedumbzone. Be like Establish the Run guy and save yourself some money.
Oh, that's true. Get that free coffee. So my weekend check just has to do with just football. Just prepping for the big game, of course. Getting all the chairs up here. My wife had a mini party downstairs with just some of her close friends, and I guess a couple of those bailed at the last second, so it was even less than she thought was going to be down there. And I was thinking, Jake was really nice. He said the polite thing when he left. I don't think he really meant it. But it was, oh, man, I feel bad just kind of leaving, and you guys are having to clean up and everything.
I think he said that because I was standing right there and I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, so he wanted to look better than you?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think this is cute on both of your behalves to act
Well,
like
no, I'm about to say
you
something.
don't know that I'm a very helpful friend. That
I'm about to say
actually did
something really
mean it.
nice.
But you did sit up here upstairs and wait until they were basically done putting everything up before you
kinda
went down
did.
there.
You kind of did.
I was hungry. I didn't
You
eat
and
during the game.
What if me and Clayton just sit up here and talk while Dan walks up every 2 minutes and takes another chair down? What if and then anyway?
They should be done down there, right? Okay,
No,
let's
so
go.
no, Jake said the polite thing. I don't think he really meant it. He may have waited till the very end to do it. But, and then when you left, I said to my wife, that was nice, but you know what? I would rather, and maybe I'm run the ball guy, I would rather be, I got to clean up the house now guy than get in my car and drive home, or especially drive to Wiley, or I don't mind hosting and having to set up and then clean up. Because I kind of like not having to go then travel. So that's probably an old man thing, not wanting to go. I don't want to drive at night. Like your dad will tell me, I don't want to drive at night. And I'm like, you know what? I also don't want to drive at night.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
On my way home from Piven, I was like, I don't like this, man. I don't like it at all. 30's just mayhem out there.
Yeah, these kids.
I was like, this. The drunks are
Have
out
they been
tonight.
drinking? Yeah.
I was like legitimately afraid driving home.
I got mad at myself on the way home because I saw a car do something a little reckless, and no one else in the car. Just shook my head. Super Bowl. These people are drinking at these Super Bowl parties and then driving home, putting my life at risk.
Amateurs.
So the Super Bowl is, for a long time, I think people have been saying, man, it sucks. Like the day after the Super Bowl should be a national holiday. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of real logical things that Trump, who does seem at sometimes is like, why don't we just do this? And then he's like, I'll sign a thing that says we do it. And like whether that's enforceable or not. Like he has mentioned daylight savings time and kind of we're like, yeah, how come we don't just, I want it to be light, you know? And he's claimed that he can do something about that. We'll see. But why doesn't he, Election Day not being a national holiday, that's one of those logical things to me. Yes, there should be just a day that everybody can kind of be off and you get to vote.
Just move it to Saturday.
Well,
Let's just do that.
Both sides, I have my opinions on
but
this.
But you do have early voting
Both sides are going to be accusing the other of, like, the reason we don't do it is because you don't want people to actually
Election
vote.
week. Let's do election week. I don't know. Anyway. And the day after the Super Bowl is another real logical, there should be a day off. Like, you definitely have a day off after New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And especially Super Bowl parties are more and more prevalent. And now that I'm a guy who throws a Super Bowl party every year, it seems, the cleanup and all that, I am up a little later or, whatever. And so my wife then was telling me last night, she read, so it must be true, the Super Bowl or the day after the Super Bowl is the most called off day of the year.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
That employers are expecting I'm going to have the highest percentage of call-offs today. So you've read some saying, should the Super Bowl be on a Saturday? Much like you say voting day should be, or election day. The Sunday, or the new thing is, and this might just happen organically after we add the 18th game. The thought is, wouldn't it be great if you had the Super Bowl on Sunday before President's Day?
Oh, okay.
Now, that's not going to change our lives because we are sports talkers who will talk about the big game. And grinders.
But no, that makes sense.
And next Monday is President's Day. And so this might just actually work out.
Okay. That would make a lot of people very happy. Now, does he need to, along with when he's signing that paperwork, does he need to make the kickoff great again?
We do.
Because if you want to talk about something that established the run guy loves, it's Donald Trump and when Donald Trump attacks football. And
listen,
he's tired.
Is he anti-kickoff?
Yeah.
I was promised a dynamic kickoff.
He says the worst part of the Super Bowl by far was watching the kickoff, where as the ball is sailing through the air, the entire field is frozen, stiff. The football does not do it, or college football does not do it and won't. Whose idea was it to ruin the game?
That ruined the whole game?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And I believe he said something like, actually this makes the game more dangerous. Not sure the logic there, but whatever.
And then before we get into the game, I will tell you I did have a mini fight with my wife last night after Blake left.
Uh-oh.
Because Blake, Eatsy's Market and Bakery, thank you for catering. So great. Their Valentine's Day menu is up. You can order at eatsy's.com/Valentine's. I think that's is that the copy on the thingy there? Let's take a look real quick.
Just say
eatsy's.com/Valentine's. Go to eatsy's.com. You'll figure it out. But yeah, you can order your Valentine's dishes. there right now. But I think if you know me for 5 minutes, you know I'm into Eatsies. So they delivered a bunch of food, catered the party. The dual parties, really. Tiny party and then our big party. And so this is a common thing after one of our streams is Blake is down there loading it up.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to take as much as he can, and I encourage that.
I'm working on my plus minus for the week.
That's right. The free meal.
I know this
for
game
you today.
well.
Yeah. So I said to my wife, because we had some wings, and then there was some fruit, and there was a couple sliders. What else did you take?
The rest
Chips.
of the meat and cheese tray.
The meat and cheese, the charcuterie tray
Yeah.
is what that was.
That's not what Establish the Run guy calls it.
It's a tray of meat and cheese.
Okay.
Cold guts.
So he has all these things, and I say to her, what if we, why don't we just put them in some Tupperware so we can store them at home? And then she's like, no, I'll get a baggie or something. I'm like, no, don't get a baggie. Like, then you got to fish it out of, like, let's just give him some Tupperware. He's Blake. He's here every day or whatever. I'll get it back from him. And if we don't, who cares? Like, do you ever look in your cupboard? There's just a million things in there. It's just whatever. I don't care. If we lost half of it, you wouldn't even know tomorrow. You would never know because you're going to acquire more. And, like, we're never using. We have a stack
Maxed
of
out.
Yeah, we have a stack of 6 of this size, 6 of this size, 6 of. We've never used them all at once. And she wouldn't do that. She's like, no, he can just load up this tray. And, like, he has the tray of meat and cheese. And she's like, well, let's just dump the wings on there. And Blake seems to be, he's just a nice guy. He's like, yes, I'll just do whatever you want because he doesn't want to cause a problem. And so we're kind of getting into it a little bit there in front of Blake, but we're holding back.
Hated it.
Did you notice?
It was brewing.
Yeah.
And I was just doing my damn best to just get out of there.
Not be on any, I don't want to be on anyone's side.
I know what's coming. I've seen this play before. And
you also are like, if I'm going to be on someone's side, it's not going to be Dan's. Right? And I get it.
Yeah, we can make up
Yeah,
later.
that
Right,
is
if I'm at your house and you and your wife are getting into
That's
something, I'm
just a
probably going to
natural
side
thing.
with her.
Yeah.
And then later,
bitch.
yeah.
That is a natural thing. I do
Yeah.
that too, I think.
I'm like, Hannah, I wouldn't treat you like this.
I know.
Damn, I wish I was your husband.
And so did you notice the move that I did just to get out of there?
No.
So I really wanted to take some of the fruit. And so I didn't care that I put wings on my cantaloupe.
Oh, yeah. He took the cantaloupe.
So now I got wingy cantaloupe that won't taste good,
Yeah.
but I just had to leave.
Because I was like, and she's arguing, and I'm like, yeah, but if you give him it in Tupperware, he can go home and throw it right into the fridge.
And this is what they're doing. And I'm like, I don't care that it's all touching. Let's just fit as much as I can.
You left,
we gotta go.
The argument didn't stop once you left because I'm like, she's like, well, why are you doing that in front of Blake? Why? And I'm like, I'm just trying to be logical. Now, when he goes home, he's going to get home at 11:30 or whatever. He's now got to
take it out,
take it off of this tray, put it in separate containers. What if we gave him 4 separate containers? He could just throw it in the fridge and he'd be at home.
Which is exactly what I had to do. But I did not mind doing it because I had silence around me. At least I didn't have to do this in front of. I got to just go home and be in peace.
Well, and then she's now got her Tupperware. It's still under the counter downstairs.
Yeah, she's holding. Like
it's not moved.
Like it's crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The value might go up.
Hold.
To the moon. I want to take a break.
Yeah, I gotta pee.
The Dumb Zone.
I don't actually desire to have relations with her. She's just one of my favorite humans alive.
Yeah.
And
for that reason, I think I'd marry her. I mean, based on all reports, marriage is a platonic thing in anyways.
I think I'm about to expose myself as someone who
might as well just punt entirely.
Everyone's gonna say like, "Oh, you just don't understand," and "Oh, you just haven't done it yet," and you just don't get it. And
you're not going to do this, are you?
But I'm telling you, that's not how it's gonna be for me.
Oh.
There's no way.
Here's the guy. We found him.
Yeah, no.
We found the guy who's gonna.
And you know what? I know people that it's not like that for, so I know it's possible. Like, I mean,
They're young still.
well, I'm just saying, it's definitely possible. And I don't care if I have to get some weird stuff involved to keep it going on. It's definitely still going to be going on. If I got to go, like the second I feel myself not being interested, I'm calling the 1-800 number on the every stop set and getting some pills. Like, there's not going to be a point in my life where that's not in the mix.
You're listening to The Dumb Zone.
You guys are assholes.
You said it.
Hey, why don't I sound like this?
Yeah.
Hey, listen here, man. I'm like,
Jeez,
We did it. We found the guy.
The thing, we didn't tell young Jake then. Maybe I didn't even know it. Is that just going to get the pills and stuff? A lot of work. It's kind of good to lose T.
Yeah.
Low T is great. Like Friday night, you're not. When she's at book club on Friday night, you're not looking to go out and bang something. You're like, great time to go grocery shopping. Mm-hmm. Great time to think about Schottenheimer's running scheme. Like me and Blake, man, we're right there.
Maybe read a book.
Or maybe read a book.
And even somebody got you that Cameron purple drink, and you're like, no, I don't think my heart can take it.
It doesn't work.
Oh.
I mean, if somebody had tried it, they would be able to have that opinion. Yeah, man.
Hey, let's give some love to Qualis Roofing. Qualis!
Hey,
Roof.
Qualis. We had a Super Bowl party yesterday. It was a little bit cold, a little bit misty outside. Didn't affect us one bit because there's a roof on the den.
That's right, from Qualis.
There is a Qualis roof on the den. Good people out there at Qualis. They will hook you up with a sit-in. We've had several of these.
If you get a
roof
yeah,
with them.
I got some mail last week from, it says here, Other Jake. Heard you talk about what a great experience you had with Qualis. I thought I should get my roof fixed. However, Qualis is in the Metroplex. My house is in the Austin area. Boo. But on a lark, I went to their website, and they have people in Austin. Yay!
Wow.
So I'm now the proud new owner of a Dumb Zone T-shirt. Super good dude. Quinn came to my house, helped me work with my insurance. Things are in the works. Tell the Austin DFs that their roofing dreams can really come true with Qualis.
Wow.
But yeah, generally people will be like, yeah, I checked them out because they're
Generally.
here in DFW.
That's the G. QualisGC.com. QualisGC.com.
All right.
All right.
So let's talk football. We had a Super Bowl. We did a stream. It was good fun. Good people. Our last stream of the year, I guess. Or last football stream, for sure. Don't know what else.
You guys were getting horny about the majors on Sunday yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
You're the one who brought it up, and then I got horny.
Well, I actually, so Roy's talked about doing it, and I am into it.
Yeah.
I guess
Maybe
got to go to work, baby.
Like, you want to go to the Luka game. We could do the first Luka game. Is that tonight?
It is tonight.
Okay, let's
I've
do
already
it.
seen the
Clay's here already.
dude, seeing the T-shirts put on all the seats, that's tough.
Do they have special Luka shirts?
They have their Luka 77 golds on every seat at Crypto.
Dang.
Mine's still in transit.
Yeah, I haven't got one yet. Go to our website. I think our merch site. Raymond's got some Luka stuff up there. They made a LFFL shirt
Are you allowed to wear that one?
at my request.
I doubt it.
And I think they have some other Luka, new colored Luka shirts. I wonder, should we still be a show that covers the Cowboys and Luka? Like, I love him. Love. There's something about having him here in town that made it extra love.
We're just going to have to sort this out as we go, Dan.
All right. Well, let's look at football then. So, before the game, we didn't know who would win. Once we got to halftime, it looked pretty set. But it's interesting. I wondered, as you look at Saquon, ended up with 25 carries for 57 yards, 2.3 yard average. I think one of those carries was like 10 yards as well. So,
Bottled up.
Most of his carry was that. Did Kansas City say, we're going to make Jalen Hurts beat us.
Without a doubt.
And Jalen Hurts said, okay. Or Kellen Moore, Jalen Hurts, I thought Kellen Moore was great.
Kellen Moore was pretty good, but I don't think it was a bad game for Steve Spagnuolo. It's just the way the game played out. I don't think the Chiefs' defense was bad. They were just put in some really, really bad situations, and Hurts was good enough.
Well, and once you get down, you've seen the Cowboys have this. You get in a bit of a hole. Now your defense can play a little differently because that other team has to throw the ball a little bit more.
And they were already just teeing off on you so much.
And
when
if you
it was
can
a
do
neutral
it,
game script,
if you can do it without without the necessity of blitzing, like
Yeah.
they would have 4 rushers against 6 blockers, and right away Mahomes would be scrambling around.
yeah.
And that just changes everything. If that is the defensive line you can put together.
Bit by bit, they did it.
And whenever he did have a little time and is looking, because Mahomes was looking downfield. You could tell. He was trying to get a big play. He'd have to pull it back in because the coverage was good. So just a full-out great defensive effort. They had good coverage downfield if indeed Mahomes did have a few extra seconds, and then the pocket would collapse around him. Or he'd be under duress right away and really no time to let anything develop downfield.
Yeah, and then just I think the overall flow of the game, he was off also. I mean, that's probably related, right? That the cumulative effect of pressure, as David Newberry used to call it. Then now all of a sudden you actually do have time, and you're like, whoa, I'm the cat that got out and don't know what to do, and then you just throw it at someone's feet without a whole lot of hurry or harassment in the pocket. It was horrible. It was so horrible. I didn't hit retweet. I didn't send it to anyone. But NBA Centel, the ball sack for the NBA site, had a tweet that said something like TMZ Sports reports Patrick Mahomes still rattled by Luka trade before the game, and I believed it. I honestly, he looked like just, it was like a freaking Space Jam situation where they lost their powers. But I don't think that the Chiefs' defense didn't show up. It was just, there's just no way you were going to beat that team.
You got a lot of weapons over there, man. Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes. And maybe they'll start to come under a little duress or heat for not ponying up money to try and put some big pieces around him because they do kind of do it off the scrap heap.
I think they'll probably keep trying, but yeah, I mean, the Tyreek Hill trade is kind of patient zero for that, but
I mean, their starting running back is a guy they signed mid-season. Juju Smith-Schuster, same thing.
Tough to be too critical whenever they were able to do what they did in the regular season, but the Eagles are, you said it all year. Blake said it last night, like, what happened at the end of last year? Because if you look at the last 2 years of football, there's about a 6-week stretch where they were terrible. And other than that, straight-up dominance. I mean, they were 10-1 last year, weren't they? 10-0?
Yeah.
And they start this year 2-2. Remember watching them struggle with the Browns one Sunday when I was at the Hab? And then you turn around, and at that point, it's A.J. Brown and Nick Sirianni. It's Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. It's all these reports and those reports. And they just steamrolled a dynasty.
Let me do some Kellen Moore stuff here. I thought it started at the first drive, 4th and 2 at midfield. We're going deep for A.J. Brown. Great play.
It was.
Great play. Offensive pass interference called. Brady and Pereira both thought.
Let him play.
Bit of a touch foul there. Shouldn't have called it. They did, and they had to punt. Okay. Refs, bad refs. Refs against us. Okay. You still. Second drive. There were some good plays in that. 20-yard pass to Goddard. Then there was a terrible penalty called on the defensive back hitting Goddard in the head on 3rd and a very long incompletion. Pereira also thought that was not a call that should have been made. Was that a makeup call? I don't know. It happened early in the game and so close to the other call that I think perhaps there was something there. But that was a second. Did I say it was second and – oh, no, it wasn't second and 28.
3rd and 5.
Yeah, that was 3rd and long, yeah. Then that's where they had the 28-yard pass for an apparent touchdown to Dotson.
With confident ref.
With very confident ref. But he was down at the 1, so the tush-push gives him the touchdown. A lot of money probably was won and lost in that couple of seconds we were talking about yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever had Dotson as first touchdown.
Man, that's tough.
You know, Super Bowl props are huge, as we have one that we were focusing on for you throughout the game. But that beating the blitz, great play. Just a good play call, good play. You know, nice on all ends. I have a Kellen Moore photo to show you. Do you have that photo from the game? Because there's a 1:53 left in the first. And Philadelphia has a really cool, weird formation that I don't know if I've seen before. But there are 3 in this. There's a center and 2 guards right next to him. And then split way left, there's 3 players, and then way right, there's 3 players. Hurts and Barkley are in the backfield. Now, I would have loved a replay on that. But Fox was, like, real horny about getting – they had, like, a story on here it is. I can play it for you.
You know, Tom, interesting with the Eagles' offensive line, they were so banged up in the NFC Championship game. Landon Dickerson started at center, hurt his knee. Cam Jurgens was active but didn't want to play because his back was killing him. But you see, they're both back in there right now in their normal spots. Jurgens at center and Dickerson at left guard.
Yeah, and that's a very good feeling for the offense to know their guys. Look at this formation.
Wow, interesting. They're just going to run it right up the gut with Gainwell that time, and he runs into Bolton. I figured I'd talk about the offensive line, and then they line them up all about the sideline. So you look at this offensive line for Philly.
See, we had a graphic
ready. Massive. Average 338 and 6'6".
It's like that's where you got to play the game is playing out here. You gotta
that's a failure on the producer's part because you know who's going to be playing probably the rest of the game.
That offensive line.
The offensive line.
Yeah.
There will be. This is not.
But we were ready. Got
Malcolm
horny
Butler.
to. Hey, I started leading into it.
Yeah.
And now I got to play the package.
That's a fail.
But this really weird play happened. Now it didn't really come out to mean anything later.
Would have loved to have run it back and hear Brady talk about it though.
That's the point. And I wanted to see, like, had this been a close game, is that pulled out again because they have a wrinkle on it? You know, the first one was I'm just going to hand off up the middle. I just thought it was really interesting, and I would like to know. I enjoy Kellen Moore doing something that I haven't seen before.
So, can you put the picture back up, Clayton? I told you guys about this. This was my high school offense.
Yeah, this is what Blake meant.
The 3-man line.
Like every play?
Every single play. However, where they have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith kind of off the line, that's where our tackles would be. And so on every play, the quarterback would take the snap, and then the tackles would run behind him. And so if he ever had to check down or there were a numbers advantage, he could swing it out to the tackle. That was the difference. This looks way better because then you could just throw a screen to a receiver rather than a tackle. But this is what we did every single play, and our quarterback got demolished every single play.
I could see that.
But you do it once a game, then it's like, oh, what is this? But yeah, it's cool.
Most of the good coaches in the NFL, offensively especially, they'll just do this every so often. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but it also doesn't have to be the last play of your season, which is basically the only time Mike McCarthy and company have considered. What if we just give them something else to look at a little bit?
Because you do this in a game in week 6, then in week 12, a team has to spend 10 minutes in practice and in meetings. If they do this, this is what we do. So it's just kind of a smokescreen.
The prop you had that we were all real fascinated with was Cooper DeJean, MVP, plus 14,000.
Plus 14,000, yeah. I had him on touchdown and interception. Because I figured if I was going to make the MVP vote, I'd do everything that would take along with it.
You got that.
I pushed for the day, and I bet all like $200 I had in my account. Then I'm back at 200 because everything else obviously.
So the woke media told you all week that it was Saquon's birthday yesterday. But they didn't tell you that it was Cooper DeJean's birthday.
No, of course not.
They're trying to hide him.
No, DEI birthday.
That's right. His 22nd birthday.
It's crazy, though, because if you look at how that game was won, I mean, the numbers turned out such that it would have been tough to deny Jalen Hurts. But I would argue that DeJean interception was by far the biggest play of the game and probably the biggest, hey, we're headed one direction, then he's turning
right.
around.
Had he thrown up some garbage time stats like Jalen Hurts did?
If he had had a big punt return or a big interception or any interception in garbage time, I think he might have won it. Because
it was a defensive performance.
That's what it was.
They shut down Mahomes and the Kansas City offense. Now, Hurts was solid. He was great. He was very good. And when you added everything up, you'd have to say, yes, the most complete game was Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but that
legs,
was just look at that drive, though. So they kicked to go up 48 after stalling out at the 25. Then they go sack, 3rd and 16, which is where you get the DeJean pick six. And now it's 17-0 and the game is over. I mean, really. That was it.
Well, it was really over after the next touchdown, which was
after the next interception.
Yeah.
Because, they had the ball with 2 minutes left down 17-0, but they're getting the ball after half. And in my mind, at that point, it is still possible, but you're just watching what the Eagles' defense is doing, and it's like, Jesus, dude, I've never seen Mahomes look this ruffled.
In fact, that was the next touchdown they scored was after there was a punt. So let me see if I have this right.
Yeah, they punted back to Kansas City, and then on the first play, here comes Zach Bond. That was a horrible pick.
Well, they had to punt back to Kansas City after. That's the time when we saw A.J. Brown jawing with Sirianni.
Yeah.
In fact, I might have something on that here in a
deep ball
second.
on 3rd and 3 that didn't hit.
I don't know if that was a bad pass, miscommunication, something, because, yes, he looked to be streaking open enough to get him a touchdown, but the ball was thrown behind him. So I thought he was going to stop. Anyway, then there was an interception on the very next play. But that's where A.J. Brown then, quite predictably, did get the next touchdown before the half. And TB and KB were doing comedy.
No good.
After that, because they saw him on the sideline with his book. Remember the book?
Well, A.J. Brown scoring from 12 yards out. They bring over Inter Excellence, which he reads from time to time. And see Nick Sirianni said, keep on reading. That's such a cool moment that we showed him a few weeks ago in the wild card, reading that in game.
Sirianni did, comes over, hugs him. I don't know. He does seem to have somewhat of a relationship. I might be sometimes adversarial, but, they do seem to obviously, they all like each other right now. Sorry.
There's the book holder. You got to keep it safe.
That's right. That author's got a second book coming out. It ain't bad being rich either. Amazon's bestseller.
Hey, everything helps. They might be writing books about this Vic Fangio defense because they have been dominant here today.
So this is just...
He is such a freaking dork.
Brady?
No, KB.
They're both dorks.
Yeah.
But Brady's wasn't that bad. But then KB's like, haha, how can I get this back to football? Vic Fangio should write a book.
He'll write it. The author's going to write another book called Being Rich is Good?
Yeah, because the author was a nobody until A.J. Brown had his book on the sideline.
That's the whole...
There's the book holder. You got to keep it safe.
That's right. That author's got a second book coming out. It ain't bad being rich either.
It's not bad.
Amazon's bestseller.
No, it is bad. It's not a good joke. It's not funny at all.
Bad.
It's very bad. He's a dork. He's there for football. But
Okay, so
he's
you'd
with,
rather have Mark Sanchez in there
Absolutely
or something,
not,
just
but he's-
sticking X's and O's?
No, but he's there with Brohard, and they're trying to create this illusion that they're friends and that they hang out and that they say funny things to each other, but they don't. Here's some KB comedy to prove it. Air quotes comedy.
Slow starts here early.
Yeah, that's been a thing here, and we know that. Here's Barkley, and he's off to a slow start because the Chiefs are playing him well. Tom, you know about some slow starts as well, huh?
Oh, man, we got to bring that up. I didn't score a touchdown in the first quarter of a game for the first 9 Super Bowls. Only in my last Super Bowl was I able to get the team in the end zone. So sometimes it just finds a little bit of, and takes a little time to find a little bit of rhythm. And again, all these games are so long. There's not a ton of momentum. It's a neutral crowd. It's a 4-hour and 15-minute game. So everyone right now is just trying to feel things out.
You know what they say, 10th time's a charm. Here's Hurts looking to throw.
There's a lot of setup for that little joke, but the point is that it wasn't funny. And then here is my final piece of TB and KB trying to do comedy. I got all the audio from the first half, so maybe Jake has more.
Oh, I got a little comedy. They did a late show.
A moment of unity inspired by Rocket.
This is a weird bit where they got the Rocket commercial, and then when you come back, they're actually doing this song in the stadium. So that has to cost a lot of money to make them do that.
Fans getting to test out their singing voices here in New Orleans. Second quarter of the Super Bowl 59. 10-0 Eagles. And I guess, Tom, maybe Kansas City has them exactly where they want them because they've trailed by 10 points every Super Bowl they've won with Patrick Mahomes.
First of all, why don't you test your singing voice a little bit? I'm interested to hear that. I haven't heard it much all year. This is a perfect time. There's 70,000 people going with you.
You know, that may require a couple of, beverages later. Not right now. There you go. All right, so the Chiefs.
Beverages.
Little karaoke, you know what I mean?
What I hope is happening is Brady is getting sick of this guy, and he's trying to make him uncomfortable.
No, Brady's a team guy.
No, I think Brady knows this guy sucks.
Yeah, I got a little one for you here where this is interesting considering Tom Brady's making, what is it, 25 or 30 million a year, but they're going to put up a graphic showing you a few stats about how the Super Bowl has changed over the year. Countries it's broadcast in. Television, whatever, and then also the cost of commercials. You're gonna have to pop me up, I think, unless I already am, and it's my fault. But I feel like I did it right.
Here's how it's changed, right? You're talking about the AFL NFL Championship, 67. There was one country that was the audience. Now it's 195 countries, and the ad time's a little bit more too. 40,000, 8 million, so a couple bucks.
I'd say 8 million for an ad. Got to save a lot of pennies for that.
So the Eagles defense gets that early stop.
What's anybody laughing at? Why even the courtesy chuckle from KB? I don't understand that at all.
Because they get along so well, and they're just hanging out, guys.
Ted Emmerich, I mean, they do this, whether there's a headset or not. Ted Emmerich mentioned this to us on our stream last night. You'll recall that Kevin Hart was pretty vicious at the Tom Brady roast, and actually kind of funny. So they showed a number of celebrities in the crowd, and they didn't show Kevin Hart at this part. So I don't know why Brady really wanted to get this in. But they showed like Anne Hathaway, Paul Rudd.
Hart was the first one.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know they showed him at some point. I just didn't see it on this part. But the point is they go back to a play. So they've not been looking at the crowd for about 20 seconds at the end of the quarter.
Kevin Hart's here?
Yeah.
How do the cameras find Kevin Hart?
Depends on the day, I guess.
All right, what does that mean? Because I know that he means that's a little fella.
Right, that's KB, like Blake said earlier, just trying to, like, you can't have the funny line. I also, very witty, I'm going to have a funny line, but it's not hitting the...
The funny line is depends on the day?
Kevin Hart's here?
Yeah.
How do the cameras find Kevin Hart?
Depends on the day, I guess.
Kevin, I love you.
Dude, what's the countdown for is that? Depends on the day, I guess.
Depends on the day, I guess.
Kevin, I love you. You took so many shots at me in May. I'm coming right back at you.
It's the roast revenge tour for Tom Brady. Hey, thank you.
What did he say?
Got you.
It's the roast revenge tour for Tom Brady. Hey, thank you to Lady Gaga for being such an emotional part of our pregame show. Here's our latest song, Abracadabra, for you. Jalen Hurts, 1 quarter away from the Lombardi Trophy.
Brady's out for comedy revenge, folks.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he never got that opportunity except at the roast when he had the podium and got to go ahead and roast.
That's all I have for comedy.
I don't know if you call this comedy, but we were watching this, and while watching, you were like, we got to get that audio for tomorrow. The Snoop and Brady anti-hate commercial. So
I hate you because we look different.
I hate you because you pray different.
Because you talk different.
Because you act different.
Because you're just different.
And then there's like a message up on the board like, stop hate and do things that aren't bad.
Yeah, they weren't done with that one.
Yeah. I hate you because I don't understand you.
I'm not done. Hold on. This isn't done.
Oh, yeah, I have another one.
Man, I hate that things are so bad that we have to do a commercial about it.
And then it's like,
I think that's at the end of this one, too.
I like you.
Mine's different, but it's the same. You know?
I hate you because I don't understand you.
Because I need someone to blame.
Because I'm just following others.
Because I'm just angry.
I hate you because I think you hate me. Man, I hate that things are so bad that we have to do a commercial about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went and did a hate crime after that. This is a fun moment for America. Coming back from break here.
All Eagles 27-0. A Skycam coverage provided by Bud Light here tonight and taking valuable time off the clock. Here's the story of the game. Patrick Mahomes has been pressured on 52% of his dropbacks. He's been sacked a career-high 5 times, and the Eagles haven't blitzed once in the game.
That's basically unheard of, KB, to have that type of pressure on Patrick Mahomes without having to send an extra rusher, which has
So my question is this. Do they play
well.
Lee Greenwood at every Super Bowl or just the one that Trump is now very associated with that song?
Right.
Not only because he plays it at a lot of rallies, but you may recall that Lee Greenwood helped him write the Bible, Trump edition. So I don't know. Was that a Trump thing? I know that song is popular, but we have a lot of Like, I would argue Bootin' Your Ass is a much more popular song.
Mm-hmm. So I heard that they play that song if you get your citizenship.
That's awesome.
Like, you go to get your citizenship.
That's like ringing the cancer bell.
And then afterwards, you're in there watching, like, you watch the Lee Greenwood video or something.
I feel like if you were being serious, I
am.
That's what I'm saying. I can't.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that as a joke. Yes, that's a real thing. That if you get your citizenship, afterwards they tell you a bunch of stuff, and you got to watch this video, and it's a Lee Greenwood.
That's awesome.
Video.
That is fantastic.
I thought you were going to play. I know everybody hates the Eagles, but I gotta love the Eagles organization. Like, they care about football. They go out and they do stuff trying to win. They don't always hit the mark, but they did here for sure. And they somehow are a big market, yet have a small market fan base.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, like, they're really, the Cowboys are a big market and a big market fan base where it seems corporate, where, you always compare it to, like, the old diehard Browns fans or the Packers fans or just the one-horse town type fans. It feels like Philly has that passion. And I didn't know if they're playing this song on the – well, anyway.
Well, Jalen Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns.
This is after the first touchdown, I think.
In this game 2 years ago against the Chiefs. He had 3 in the championship game.
They're playing the song in the stadium, right?
You can't practice against that.
Yeah, it's a very difficult play to stop because if you're the Chiefs' defense, there's no way to really simulate that in practice, and that's ultimately the real challenge. Not are you dealing with,
it's
like
just
I
so
said
cool
in the
to hear
pregame, the biggest offensive line in Super Bowl history with Juergens, Dickerson, Mailata, Mackay.
Yeah, I think they probably were because it sounded
they
different
piped it
when they started doing the.
You have a little
spelling it at the
tunage
end.
behind it. You can hear it,
Yeah.
but still the screaming. To have a signature song like that,
it's very
like
cool.
what do the Cowboys do if they scored and they were playing?
Hold up, we them boys. Remember we did that for a year,
right?
Yeah.
And then also every team
Like
did
that
it.
seems
Like,
old school, yet
I love it.
they're still modern.
Dude, all you're doing is just saying what you guys have come at me for over the last year. You just don't want to say it.
They're better?
It's a sports town that if you could pick, you would pick that one. I wish that I rooted for their teams. Don't make me.
It's a better town. They're cooler. They're more dedicated to football. They have a cool TV show where they're fans of them. The Always Sunny guys.
The Always Sunny guys. The league, not the league. What was the one that
they got a hot fan, Bradley? If they could get rid of Kevin Hart for AD,
that's how much I appreciate Philadelphia. Is I forget that Kevin Hart is from there. But this game was not in Philadelphia. It was in Louisiana. And we wanted to take this moment as part of an NFL PSA to tell you a little something about Louisiana.
I want to take a moment and recognize NFL Play 60 and Special Olympics athletes who play United Flag football here in Louisiana, which, by the way, became the 15th state to sanction girls' high school football.
All right, he's going to say some more stuff, but I thought it was really funny that he said that like it was ratifying the Constitution. They became the 15th state to recognize girls' high school or girls' football.
Play it again.
I want to take a moment and recognize NFL Play 60 and Special Olympics athletes who play United Flag football here in Louisiana, which, by the way, became the 15th state to sanction girls' high school football.
So, okay, they sanctioned. He also made the analogy of Special Olympic flag football along with women playing football.
Sometimes you can't tell them apart, folks. Would it be like whenever would it be like whenever you sign up for intramurals like in your 20s or something, and it's a social league? You have to have like 3 mentally disabled and 4 females on the field at all time. Like there's a ratio. You're like, hey, you got too many strong ones out there. I don't know.
NFL's been working all week to bring awareness about the importance of staying active. Visit NFL.com/play60.
You know the deal on that. Here's some top flight analysis from Tom Brady. Now, Brady is not getting great reviews. He's not getting bad reviews, but I think a lot of people, Deitch described him as a game manager last night, and I would agree.
Well, I think he's very good on a good game.
Yeah.
And he probably doesn't have a lot of reps for bad games. This was a bad game.
That's true.
And I know he gets criticized for doing too much of the I did this and I would do this, but I think that's why he's there to me.
I totally agree, and that's why when he brought this, I was like, damn, that's why he's there.
You're working against the clock if you're KC. So if you're Philly, you do want to put as much pressure as you can when you have the ball to, we call that milk the clock, and then.
So I didn't know that they call it that. I thought, and then the way that he said it a second time, that means that must be, yeah.
You're working against the clock if you're KC. So if you're Philly, you do want to put as much pressure as you can when you have the ball to, we call that milk the clock, and then.
Had y'all heard that?
No.
You want to milk the clock. I don't even know what he's talking about.
That's a consultant telling him to do that.
So is that something they say in milk the clock?
You know how this goes. There's someone that comes in and says, hey, look, you got a lot of non-football people watching this game.
It's milk the clock.
And I know, but somebody told him to do that.
Okay, but then he's like, milk the, we call
and
it
they probably
milk
said
the
when
clock.
you bring up football terms, repeat it and slow it down for the audience that don't know what you're talking about.
We have to do it. Why don't you explain what a clock is?
Is that part of? Is that just the Super Bowl, or do you think in general he's been told throughout the year, like, hey, explain things a little bit because you're Tom Brady, and to you, the X out or whatever is real obvious, because he does this with some other terms that I wasn't familiar with.
True.
And he will go, we call that an Ozzy for Ozzie Newsome. The tight
I like
end,
that stuff,
the tight end out. And I think, that is interesting. But maybe he's thinking he doesn't know what common things are. And so even if it's that, or maybe they've upped the ante and said, now you're doing the Super Bowl, and you're really talking to,
I could
you're
see
talking
that.
to Dan's wife now.
And now that I've heard it a couple times, I think it's all of this and him being a bit of a smartass. Like his producer has said, hey, you have to explain stuff, because when he says it a second time, you get a little Dan McDowell in there.
The ball to
reset.
We call that milk the clock. Milk the clock. And
Let's reset awesome. Every question.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
If we've been told we're not resetting enough.
I guess you just have to.
You're listening to the
this.
Dumb Zone, breaking down Super Bowl 59 audio.
I'm Blake Jones.
It was the Eagles. That's Clayton. I guess you just have to do this because the guy owns all of the media in the world. But I was able to actually put my daughter and my son to sleep last night. They were with me watching the Super Bowl, and they were like, Taylor Swift, whatever. This is what they were staying up for.
Well, Rupert Murdoch is here at the game, and good to see him. We're all here because of him, so Rupert, we appreciate it. It's our boss enjoying. There's been a dominating performance by the Eagles. Now Elliott looking to add on.
Rupert Murdoch, that everybody's just clamoring to.
Yeah, so we're tempering our enthusiasm for Taylor Swift. Again, we were saying this on the stream yesterday. The two most famous people in the world right now were at this game.
Yeah, and it barely showed either one of them. However, when they did show Taylor Swift in the stadium, she did get some boos. You guys aware of that?
Mm-hmm. She was very confused.
That's what they say.
Well,
what they also say is what Trump said, which is that MAGA never forgets.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just the like my wife said after everybody left and we were done arguing about Blake's food containers.
Post makeup coitus.
Oh, we had makeup sex right there on the wings. She said she was secretly rooting for Philadelphia, even though her friends had Kansas City jerseys. Apparently one of the ladies she was with was from Kansas City, because she's just tired of it. I go, what?
That's what everybody's doing.
She's like, I don't know, just Taylor Swift, the Kelsey's mom. She's like, I'm just tired of it. I was happy that Philadelphia won. She goes, they might be horrible people, the Philadelphia team. I don't know. They might be, but I just was rooting against them. I'm like, oh, okay.
That was a lot of people. My wife said something similar, and she's even got, a couple Mahomes jerseys from Tech. But I don't know. I don't get that. That's not how I feel, unless there's a reason to hate him. Kelsey's a bit of an attention whore, but he entertains me. There's nothing about them that I look at and I'm like, boy, I find that really objectionable. But it was a boring game. And I bring to you what I would say is the least interested broadcaster I think I've ever heard in my life. This was on the deep shot that Dan pointed out last night that Mahomes was trying to take down a zillion in the third or fourth, and he gets clocked. And he gets
fumble.
His arm gets raked, he fumbles, and then once the ball is out, he gets a hands to the face. They throw a flag, but the flag is actually not on the hands to the face, so they're sorting that out.
He got hit in the face. Yeah. And they missed it.
I think they called it. I think the ball may have been out of the possession. Is that what you see, Mike?
All right, so Perez got a second to either think about it or wake up, whichever one just happened.
I think they called it. I think the ball may have been out of the possession. Is that what you see, Mike?
No, he hit the crossbar. Trying to dunk it over the crossbar.
So they get Williams on the crossbar. They missed that. The 6.
Okay, we're not coming back to Mike. That's all he had.
Wow.
Because the defensive lineman had crossbar dunked, And so after a 5-second layout, Pereira's like, fuck, he hit the crossbar.
Yeah,
he was not paying attention.
Gummy thoughts? What is he doing?
I think he's just like, this game is so over. Why do they need to come to me? None of these are critical calls. I'm done.
Okay, but you're in the booth. We're paying you.
No, he hit the crossbar.
Yeah.
Trying to dunk it over the crossbar.
So they get Williams.
Okay, got it.
That did not answer why there's a flag at all.
Because they didn't show like the full dunk and
right.
But the way he said, hey, hit the crossbar.
That's like
what
your
does that
wife
mean?
Asked you something, you hadn't been paying attention, and you try to answer. He was trying to pretend like he had been listening.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all I got. I just enjoyed that Mike Pereira was as over this as the rest of America was.
Yeah.
Sports.
Let's do the news that we brought to us by Lucy. That is the nicotine pouches, 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco free. And it is not like the other the nicotine pouch companies that's owned by Big Tobacco. They're like the mom and pop shop of pouch. They're like the Dumb Zone of pouches.
And like most mom and shop pouches, but maybe not like the
What'd
Dumb
you just
Zone.
say?
Mom and pop pouch shop. It's good stuff. This is the best pouches I find on the market. Lucy.co/dumbzone. You get the promo code dumbzone for 20% off your first order. I'm an Apple Ice guy. Get those 8 millis. I am a fan. You know the other ones that they're talking about here. That's what I was on too. Didn't know Lucy existed. Then I tried them. It's a cleaner feel. They have more flavor. Got the breaker thing in there for you to get a little extra flavor. So Lucy.co/dumbzone. Use promo code dumbzone. Free shipping, 20% off. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only available for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning: this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Here's Jake with the Dumb Zone News.
Yeah. So we briefly touched on it, but with Trump and Taylor Swift, if you recall, she endorsed Kamala, and Trump would tweet things like straight up just tweeted, "I hate Taylor Swift." He also had tweeted deep fake images of her. That seems dangerous.
Naked?
No.
Oh, what's the point then?
I think it was deep fake images showing her and her fans being like closet Trump supporters and fans.
Oh, that's funny.
The other thing from we haven't touched on.
He knows comedy, bro.
Is the halftime show happened. That was the first thing I did when I got home last night. I mean, for me, I loved it. It's an odd pick. He's huge, but he's not really the type of. He's dense. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he doesn't have some party songs and some silly songs, but Kendrick Lamar is dense material. Like, my wife doesn't really dig it. She knows I love it, she appreciates it, but she don't want to go with me to that show. It's not a party. It's a philosophical journey.
So dense means deep?
Yeah, it's just hard. You kind of got to, like, dissect on Kendrick Lamar. Exquisite.
Okay.
But if you want to,
so it's very layered, very...
Oh, everything is. And everything was last night, from having Samuel L. Jackson out there to play Uncle Sam, which is also kind of an Uncle Tom thing. And he's making fun of Drake, who he kind of views as an Uncle Tom. And Samuel L. Jackson had played an Uncle Tom in Django. To the images he was using. All of it was... But while I think that stuff is really cool, I also could see how... the average music fan, it's not even a race or a hip-hop thing. They're just like, I don't understand this.
Yeah,
whereas, like, Aerosmith's not giving you a lot to think about. Wow! They're just doing that
It's
a
just
lot.
the tune, the sound.
Yeah, and that's not...
It's the McCartney versus Lennon argument.
There you go.
Would be...
Kendrick
Lennon,
is Lennon.
John Lennon is about lyrics. McCartney is about the sound.
The melody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was super into Kendrick long time. I mean, 15 years ago. C4 and then Good Kid, Mad City. But then it hit a point where it like took more effort to understand what he's saying. And it's not just
Run the ball guy. Don't like that.
Well, sure. Yeah, it kind of plays into that. But, you know.
Like you got to read a book over. You got to read chapter again.
I don't want to have to look at all the lyrics and understand what he's meaning by that. I just want to listen to a 3-minute song.
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's not...
I mean, you can be in the mood for Kendrick, but that's...
You know what Run the Ball guy also doesn't like? Subtitles on a TV show. Like,
I know.
Talk English.
Yeah. Just
I don't want to have to read.
Talk English. Yeah, he does have some, especially on this last album. While it is very layered, it's also a very aggressive album. So there's some bangers on it that I think worked well last night, like Squabble Up, TV Off, and Not Like Us. Those are arena songs. Like, those work. But even his arena songs, like, Kristen will say, I just feel like he's really mad. And he is. That's the thing.
I saw some stuff on Twitter like, man, I can't believe he did that while Trump was there. And
yeah, I mean, there was just some subtle, like, race-related lines and comments. But
40 Acres and a Mule was
40
in there.
Acres and a Mule, yeah. But the whole thing was really about Drake.
Okay.
I completely forgot this until I was thinking about this morning. The first time I saw him, I didn't even know who he was. It was just at some place at South by Southwest at a day party, and you just roll up and there's people there and whatever, it's free. But the second time I saw him was after Section 80 came out, which is before Good Kid, and it was at UTA, where I believe their basketball team had just opened a new arena, maybe, and he was opening for Drake. Now I know they've toured and done songs together and stuff, but that is weird in my memory because I don't remember there being any other artists. It was just Kendrick Lamar opens for Drake. And now at the Super Bowl, however many million people are cheering about how you like him young. And that's really, really an odd journey.
The beef that was going on last year, we now have a clear winner?
Yeah, I mean, most people, objective people, and it's hard for me because I'm not objective, but it seems the objective conclusion has been that Drake lost that one. But it's music; it's up to you.
But I also mean, though, if you get to play your last hand at the Super Bowl, you probably won.
And then he put up like game over. Like it was a video game type thing, and then when the set ended, the whole crowd just said "game over" real big and glowing lights. Like, you can do whatever, but this is done for me.
Are you surprised they booked him?
Yeah, I am. I really am because you think about it, he did it before as part of the Aftermath Dr. Dre thing, but Dr. Dre and Snoop, man, that's 3 decades of party hits, and then he had 50 Cent out there. Eminem was there for that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had that. You had there were hits at the Dr. Dre one. Kendrick's just not. I'm surprised they booked him. I am. Lyft is bringing automated robo-taxis here to Dallas as soon as next year.
Is that like that thing we were in?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it called that you guys did?
What was Quibi? It called?
No.
QCat?
No.
Man, I really
Where did y'all
remember.
do that?
L.A.
L.A., yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have it in Phoenix, too.
It's just driverless cab, basically.
Why can't I think of it?
It is called Waymo.
Yeah.
Waymo's the one you guys used.
Yeah.
So for Lyft's portion, they're partnering with a Japanese company, and they have a fleet. It's called Mobileye Drive Technology. That'll be available on the Lyft app. And I gotta say, I didn't do it with you guys, but I have no problems with this. Like, I would do this for sure. I don't see any issue. In fact, I think I might prefer it a lot of the time.
I think that was my review when we did it. It was just nice not having a big smelly guy up there or someone that doesn't speak your language.
Now, when I'm hammered, do I have to also ask the imaginary driver or the robot, how long you been doing this, man?
No, you don't.
Well, how long you been driving?
Does Run the Ball guy like having a driver that doesn't speak the language?
No, of course not.
No, he does not. Man, I've gotten into some
horse that he smells.
Yeah, or they stink, or they're on their phone on speaker.
Dude, at the gas station this weekend, getting some sleeves of chew, and so the Indian lady or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, on the phone when I walked in.
With who? What?
Decided to throw it on speaker. Because apparently she was maybe she was on a 3 or 4-way call.
Wow. Of course she was.
Because now the speaker is next to her and it's just like like it was just there was this like her whole family was on and she's just in on the whole thing and she'd occasionally chime in. But like I got to see her put the phone down and like usually they got the Bluetooth or something in.
Yeah. Yeah, usually.
But yeah, she's just listening to nonstop
I don't get
chatter,
it.
And why do they talk all day?
To who? And all day.
They're
but
talking all day together.
There was a comedian, I can't remember if it was the opener who was a white guy or the second guy who was a black guy who made a joke about this. And I'd never noticed it also until I rented the house down by you. And there was an Indian family a few houses down. The dad would go outside and just walk around and talk on the phone in the front yard every night.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like, it seems weird. But then the comedian brought it up. He's like, you ever see the dad or the grandpa? He's out there every night on the phone just walking around in the yard. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. And then he brought up the convenience store thing. And like, oh, got to throw it on speakerphone here. And he started doing the accent. And the two black ladies I was with were laughing super hard. I was laughing. We were all like, oh, they do that. And and we were laughing really hard. And then one of the black ladies, I swear to God, she was like, I can't laugh, though. We be doing that, too. I was like, all right, we're definitely all on the same team here. This is a good comedy vibe.
So another thing, like I haven't been averse to technology as far as like throwing rocks at drones like Jake or wanting to beat up the kindness robot.
Another great Philly bullet point.
Yeah. But I take the DART train down to our Fox studios, and sometimes I'll just walk a few blocks or something instead of waiting on a train. And I've noticed that DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever.
The robot?
Yeah.
I told you guys about this when I was at SMU.
They've got the robot cooler like driving the street. Well, not on the streets, but on the sidewalk. And again, I've never cared about it until it drove past me one day, and I just really wanted to kick it over.
I know. Oh, I'm saying exact same. And people will stop and stare at it. Like, what are you being homeless for if you're not going to do us all a favor and kill that thing? You're out there.
It is funny watching them watch it.
I know. It's just like everything about society.
Help yourself to a free meal, dude. Get it.
Summed up right
I'm
there.
not going to tell anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure it's locked.
Yeah. Definite when keeping it real goes wrong moment happened Saturday night in Fort Worth. There was a man, who broke into his ex-girlfriend's apartment over in Fort Worth. He's like, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to get her back. What is she with some other guy? I'll show him and her. So he was there when she got home, and she got home with her new man. And her new man blew him away with bullets. Police say he confronted the ex and the suspect as they attempted to enter the apartment. That's when the suspect pulled out a handgun, fired multiple shots. He was pronounced dead at the scene. No names, no information, and no arrests. They didn't arrest the guy. They said he's cooperating. It's like, what do you think you were going to do? Hop out and yell surprise? Like, what was your plan?
Yeah, unless he just didn't know she had another dude. That's probably the case, right?
Yeah, but let's just say he thought it was just her. Is that how you're going to get her back?
I mean, it does happen.
Hiding in the house?
Yeah, the hiding in the house part.
Well,
if you want to show up and stand outside with your boombox and yell,
like, I don't know
baby,
how it happened, but my brother impregnated his wife before they were married, and there was a restraining order against him.
At the time?
I don't know if it was like it was a restraining order, but it had something to do with they they couldn't be within 100 yards of each other. Now, she might have initiated it too. You know how that goes.
Oh, of course, yeah.
She might have. That might have helped, but she's the one who, yes, initially put the.
Was he
because she had called the cops on him, saying that he has drugs in the house, like he had pot, when they were arguing.
God, I want restraining order sex.
You gotta imagine that it's just
dynamite.
Yeah, I'm restraining order slaps on, and I'm one pump and done. Because you're just thinking about the heat that's all over you, you know.
Feel like you're being watched.
Looking out the window a little bit, kind of trying to be quiet, but
God, she's breaking the law with you. Damn.
Come on, dude. Yeah. Now, was he able to be there at the birth?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Okay.
I think then
I don't know.
They got it rescinded or something. I don't know.
Never had a
But I
restraining
remember there was some kind of a legal barrier to them even being in the same room together.
Well, you know, we had that story about those prisoners where they would just pass the jism through the
yeah, maybe that's how they did it.
Through the wall. Bit of a movement on this issue. Greg Abbott has signaled that he is open to authorizing online sports betting.
Right after they moved Luka, huh?
But the political analysts say that, at least here in the state, this is not going to sway senators from blocking its legalization. But it's like any of these things. It's just a drop-by-drop, bit-by-bit thing, right? So 10 years ago, the governor's writing that he, quote, wholeheartedly supported state laws that prevent any expansion of gaming. And now he says, I don't have a problem with online sports betting. I would be shocked if there's not some Texans who do it already. It's a very common practice.
Can't they geofence you out?
Didn't look into it. It seems to be part of the entertainment. Tell me if you think this guy understands sports fandom and like the regular man. It is a very common practice, and it seems to be part of the entertainment that goes along when you're watching a football game, especially pro football or other types of sports.
I think he's...
Sounds like a fucking conehead.
No,
like he just showed up here.
I think he has his finger on the pulse of what's going on around here.
Oh, that was another thing from Piven night. Again, don't remember which non-Piven comic it was, but they called the governor Hot Wheels and had some COVID jokes and did like pretend wheelchair motions, and the two ladies, Stella and Estella, I don't know, did not think it was funny.
Did not like it?
No.
Okay, interesting.
Not like from a they're supporting Greg Abbott vibe, but more from a I can't believe this guy's doing wheelchair humor.
Okay, yeah. I'm with him.
So, again, yeah, it's any gambling legislation is dead once it gets – it's DOA. Once it gets to the Senate.
Maybe that's a way, though, you can still get money from the gambling people. Like, look, I said publicly I'm into it.
Oh, I'm sure that's what
it's
they
not
do.
me. It's these guys. Give me more money, and I'll say more stuff. All right.
This is from this political scientist they interviewed at the Morning News says that Abbott's openness to sports betting is not likely to satisfy those like Miriam Adelson and other magnates who are pushing primarily for authorization to open casino resorts in Texas. That's very different. Very different. So, it seems like we're still pretty far away on that one.
Who were we talking to recently about casinos? Was it Ethan?
Probably.
Just because I do agree. I don't need a casino downtown. Like, there's a casino downtown Cleveland. It's like,
Yeah, he was saying that even if Dallas did open up resort gambling, people aren't going to want to flock here. This is not a destination city.
It keeps people from doing it elsewhere, though.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
A lot of people from Dallas drive up to Oklahoma.
And
or
you do
travel
have
to Vegas.
Enough events at AT&T, college football playoff, March Madness, Final Four. It would be, I'm telling you, whether we think of this place, I didn't say this to Ethan because, I mean, he's right. This place is not a destination. But it's a place people travel to all the time for work.
Right.
And so if you had a casino within 15 minutes of either of those airports, it would be packed all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thanks, Blake. Hell yeah, dude.
Just giving props.
I appreciate that. Let's see here. You know what? That's really the last one that I wanted to do. How about that? I'm not going to do another one.
The Dumb Zone News.
Trying to
and
keep time on this bad boy.
Yeah, it's been tough. Today's program has been brought to you by Lone Star Beer and Lone Star Light, just because. So what I've done in honor of that is wear some of the merch that they sent us. Which camera can I look at? This is the new sweatshirt I got.
That is a phenomenal hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was a ton of sweet merch here last night, and I didn't get any of it. But I can go to LoneStarBeer.com.
You should use a promo code.
Which one?
DumbZone21 will get you 21% off merchandise. That's because you must be 21 or over to purchase. But you broke out some stuff last night. It felt like the Lone Star fall spring fashion line.
Yeah, they got a lot of cool stuff on there,
awesome
man.
Stuff up there.
Hats. They got your koozies.
I think they make beer for those koozies too.
That's right. Great beer. National Beer of Texas. 140 years of beer brewing in Texas. Whoa. Perfect with a tray of barbecue. But thanks, Lone Star, for bringing us last night's game. And today's program brought to you by Lone Star Beer. Or I'll go with the blue. The Lone Star Light.
The red went really good with my meat and cheese tray.
I'll bet it did. Run the ball guy is the red guy.
Of course.
Yeah. I have a couple of birthdays to read, and then we'll get into today in history. So we have Uncle Hottie. I wish my father-in-law, Tommy Johnson, happy 70th birthday on Saturday. He said he used to run into you at Yates. You know Yates at the corner of Dove and Kimball?
Yeah. I missed that place.
Back when you were famous and still on the radio. Also, would like to wish my DF friend Skylar happy birthday Tuesday, February 11th. So that's tomorrow. Okay. My Christmas present from him this year was a Qualis Roofing sit-in just before the holidays. We brought you guys, it says here, MILF and cookies. He brought milk, though. If somebody brought me a MILF, I would remember that.
Yeah.
That's from Tyler G. P.S. Not the deeply closeted Aggie that wrote in last week and called all other Tylers a bitch.
I love the little wars we have.
Discourse.
Yeah.
And I have Dear Twat Taster. It is my buddy Tyler Fleet's birthday Sunday.
Do you don't want to just taste it?
No.
He isn't listening yet, but if you mention this, I'll pay for his sub.
Whoa. What was your name?
Tyler Fleet. I'll send him the audio, so hype him up. He's a former All-State tight end from Tyler Lee. High school football, Jake probably knows that school. So I did a little research on Tyler Fleet over the weekend and found out that I'm trying to hype him up. As a football player, Fleet was a 3-year letter winner at Tyler High School, where he was part of the Raiders Class 5A Division I state championship team in 2004. Had a pretty good career, 43 catches, 625 yards, 5 touchdowns. All-district 12-5A. Is that good?
Dude, they don't just hand those out. 12-5A?
And first team All-East Texas selection at tight end.
Beast Texas.
That was an 04. He'd probably be 6A now.
First team academic All-State selection.
This guy just gets it all done, you know?
Nerd.
Marry your daughter.
Discus thrower on the track team.
In his free time.
Yeah, this guy looks great.
Dude, that's crazy that it says that this one Class 5A state biggest dick for Tyler Fleet.
He's not a dick.
No.
You're saying he possesses. His wiener is very large.
I'm led to believe, yeah.
Then Tyler Howell, who's writing in for Tyler Fleet, says, more Blake. P.S. Yes, we are both named Tyler, and we live in Tyler.
Okay.
So.
Good for you guys.
That is good for him. and them and us.
Sub to our show.
The Dumb Zone presents.
Today in History brought to you by Franco & Franco, personal injury attorneys, 214 or 817-333-3333.
L3.
What's that?
Soroy last night.
Yeah.
Dial L3.
Oh, that's right. He ran into, or he saw an accident.
And he immediately told those people, look, I know you're shook. Make sure you're okay. Call the Frankels, 214-817.
Trace.
Yeah. So it's Monday, February 10th. On this day in 1923, Lubbock's Texas Technical College was founded. They later would just call it Texas Tech. So 1923. It's 101 years old. 102 years old. You have to blow out its candle for it today. I hope to be 102 years old.
You don't want to be 102 years old.
On this day in 1992, boxer Mike Tyson convicted of raping Desiree Washington, a Miss Black America contestant.
Got me in trouble at school.
Why?
Because I heard it on the radio in the car on the way to school with my dad. I was telling kids at school that morning that Michael Jackson had raked somebody.
Mike Tyson?
Excuse me, Mike Tyson had
raked
someone, and they got a phone call home.
Well, if I could go back and talk to your mom and dad at that point and say, take it easy. There's going to be a lot bigger fish to fry. Don't be worrying about little Jake saying raked.
Why don't you guys just try to keep this thing together over the next 6 months?
Nope. On this day in 1996, Blake, heavyweight boxer Tommy Morrison was suspended by the Nevada boxing authorities before his scheduled bout with Arthur Weathers because a test administered in Las Vegas came back HIV positive. He had the AIDS.
Which is how he was able to defeat Rocky in Rocky V.
That's right.
The AIDS boxer?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite a...
heroic.
Just quite a club to have in your bag if you have that as well to be able to fight another boxer with. And on this day in 2015, NBC announced they would suspend Brian Williams as nightly news anchor for 6 months without pay because he misled the public about his experiences covering the Iraq War.
Misled. Misled. He just straight up whole cloth fabricated stories about being in like Black Hawk helicopters that were being shot
through
at.
the mud.
Yeah, it just made the whole thing up. God, that guy sucks. Did his daughter get her butt eaten on TV on Girls?
What?
I'm pretty sure, dude.
We don't have that Kemp spin, do we?
No.
Birthdays, Daryl Johnston, 59.
Oh, she's hot.
Yeah, you think? I'm pretty sure she got butt eaten on TV.
Chauncey Golston is 27.
I like him.
Orlando Skandrick, 38.
Wild ride, man. But I liked him. He had a little junkyard dog to him, you know? He had some awkward interfacings with you guys, I feel like. He was the type of athlete you interview and he's waiting to... Micah has a little bit of this, you know? Like he's waiting to get on you. Did you get her buddy?
Yeah. This article is just so over the top. Season 4 of Girls premiered at the same time. So inferior. Allison Williams gets her butt eaten over the sink, and then it attaches the GIF, and then under it says, fuck yeah.
You're Brian Williams. You're over here reporting on Israel, Palestine. You're trying to leave a mark, and you get home after a long day. Hey, what's my daughter doing on TV tonight? You flip it on, and somebody's just lapping up her anal pubic hair on television.
Now, I'd rather see that than see her doing the eating.
Yeah, you're a caring father.
Yeah.
Yeah. At your core.
Current Maverick Max Christie is 22.
And it's so cartoonish. Like he's motorboating down there. And
is that not how you do it?
I don't know. It just.
How would you do it?
Looks funny.
How
Congrats
do you do
to Max Christie.
Bring Allison over here. We'll find out.
That sounds like a captive type situation.
Mike Ribeiro is 45.
Speaking of. He's recently been in even more trouble.
But he famously does not watch porn.
Yep.
He makes it. Ruben Mateo, 47.
Man.
He was the next one.
that was big talk on the playground.
Do not trade Ruben Mateo. Josh Rosen is 28.
Swore I had a bet about him.
Student at Wharton Business School.
Currently?
Yeah.
Ty Law, 51.
Traded?
He was great.
He was traded,
released right before the season.
Okay.
Signed by Buffalo, then they went out, won 30-0 or something, and then the team still won the Super Bowl or something. Lenny Dykstra, 61. I haven't heard from him lately.
What did he get in trouble for? Nothing? I think sometimes I confuse.
He's got some hot. You think he's Kurt Schilling, don't you?
Yeah.
Elizabeth Banks is 51. We like.
I feel like every year I Google her name to try to remind myself who this person is, and I just don't have an answer for you.
She was in Role Models and Invincible.
I haven't seen any of these movies.
Wasn't she in 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yes.
Yeah, she was the crazy girl.
Emma Roberts, 34. Vince Gilligan, creator of Breaking Bad, is 58. Laura Dern, 58.
You know.
Was she?
JP.
Alexander Payne, movie director, is 64. The director of Election and Sideways. Really good director commentary on Election.
Laura Dern, we should know, good friend of the show.
George.
Stan.
Yeah.
Do
they do director comedy?
Are you guys into Big Little Lies? Is that one of your shows?
No.
The wife is.
Who's in that?
All of them.
Yeah, it just seems like it's right in you guys' wheelhouse for what you're
Oh,
into
is that the
these
Laura Dern?
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, okay. I watched that first season.
Ding.
It's all right. It's no morning show.
Okay.
Let's settle down. And Jim Cramer is 70. The financial guy who seems to get everything wrong. And
I don't
he's still on TV and stuff.
I'm sure there's somebody who's tracked it. No, he's terrible. Mad Money. He seems to be terrible.
Born on this day, now dead. Randy Van Horn. He was born in El Paso, and he was the man who did theme songs for many cartoons, including the Flintstones and the Jetsons.
El Paso, huh? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Dead on this day, still dead. We got some big ones. You got your Larry Flint.
P&V.
Jan Michael Vincent. That is Airwolf.
Oh, man.
That's a big Bob story, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Which, one that for many years I would casually mention and be met with resistance. And I fast forward a couple of years and we're just talking about the snowmobile decapitation. We're talking about the Airwolf murderer.
It's all good.
No, it's like hearing your ex-wife's willing to do that now.
Right.
You're like, what?
Wait a second. And died on this day in the year 2000. And I think you're in a good mental place these days, right? It feels like you can withstand, like you'll be with us tomorrow. I don't know. It feels like
One
you
day
are.
at a time.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
I honestly feel incredible.
Like
It
I
feels good
almost don't
say
want
it
to
out
tell
loud.
you this because
Nothing can hurt me.
I really
Ryan
don't want you
Dunn.
to turn to the bottle.
They
tonight.
already traded Luka.
I know, but so now you got Luka.
Shoddy, Eagles.
You got the Eagles, and now if I tell you who died on this day in the year 2000, I just want you to think of the fact that you got to experience him.
Ernest lived a lot longer than that.
Jim Varney died
Oh,
on this day in the year 2000.
Oh.
He didn't live a lot longer
Okay,
than that.
Vern.
But the fact that, see, it's different than Luka. You can still go rent. Goes to camp.
If in the event that
Or
I needed to rent it, yeah.
With Ernest and Emmanuel are in space or whatever they did.
You know, he went to Africa.
So the point is you can just – yeah, you don't have to rent it. You can just go home and pop it in.
Sure.
So he kind of lives on. That's why you thought he died much later than that because, hell, I was watching him yesterday. But do you know what I mean, Vern? Do you know what I mean?
And that was Today
God,
in
he was
History.
Did you hear about the time he went to jail?
Adios, mofo.
We gotta go before this becomes a zoo.
Thank you for watching my video. Subscribe and type for my name if you want to watch more of my videos.
NFL, oh, I miss you so. NFL, when you left, there was a hole deep in my soul. Now it is whole until the Super Bowl.